He's so nondescript. They just wanted you to use your imagination, like Mr. Big. He's a concept. Like they
Yeah.
couldn't really.
This is the Imperial Schools of Honor podcast. I'm Josh Folan,
And I'm Jay Baxtron.
and we are going to be bullshitting about the formative years of console gaming and pop music as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today we are yay through Sega's 1990 orgasm of creativity, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Sega Genesis. Emulation disclosure to start. Jay, how did you play this video game?
I played this through Kega Fusion through my PC with the standard Sega Genesis controller. Yeah.
Word. Fusion on my PC as well with the proprietary 6-button OG arcade stick piped in via USB adapter. Please rate and review the podcast if you like the shit that we're doing, if you like this episode, if you just want to be kind, be part of the ISOH movement, give us validation on your podcast platform of choice in the form of a rate and review, and we'll read it here on the pod. What are we jamming on now before we discuss Michael Jackson? What are you jamming on now, Jay?
Josh, I have to tell you, since the last time we recorded, it has just been a retro video game heyday over here through Game Pass. Dude, okay, so first and foremost, what we have to talk about is Pac-Man Museum Plus. You see it behind me. This is my arcade. If you're like me and you grew up in the 80s and you started with Pac-Man, have any affinity for Pac-Man, you will absolutely love this game. And, you know, we talked before how when my parents came to visit before, I found an old Pac-Man, you know, through the Xbox game store and just bought it for like a couple bucks, had fun with the parents, you know, great time, no big deal. Because I was just original Pac-Man, nothing fancy. This game, when I heard that this game was coming to Game Pass, I kind of just assumed, all right, it's going to be Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and Junior Pac-Man, which is one of my favorites, and then like Pac-Mania, hopefully that was on the NES, because I'm like, oh, I hope this, I can't wait to play it. This is so much more than that. I can't even like. First of all, it doesn't have Pac. It doesn't have any of the other Pac characters in terms of playable, so it does not have Miss Pac-Man or Junior Pac-Man. So I was kind of bummed, but it
Are
has
you
like
sure?
I'm 100% sure. 100% sure. It has like 13 other games
Possible.
starting with the original one, but like games I've never heard of or played before, some that I've seen, including Pac-Mania, which I loved. And they are all so different and also amazing. Like and I'm not even talking about Pac-Man was like my favorite game. Like, yes, it was like one of the first games I ever played. So like I have that, you know, nostalgia, respect for it. But like I'm not pining away to play Pac-Man. However, these other versions make me want to play it, and I played it so much.
A lot going on in that picture there.
All right. So part of the exciting thing about this is that it has Animal Crossing vibes to it, where you start you have your arcade, like you have basically a very basic plain arcade, and you can play all of these games, all of these various different Pac-Man games that have been released from 1970s through 2015. And once you actually play the games and unlock things and do better and get better scores and kind of like 100% some games, you unlock different cabinets, different cabinet features, different wallpapers, different characters start coming to visit your arcade. So it's you by yourself, and then like different characters like come, so now they're like walking around your arcade, and you get to like decorate and change it. And so I'm not, you know me, I'm not one of those people who's like big on decorating and things within games, but like I found myself like, oh, I locked that character, sweet, like I can't wait, I need another Pack in Time like cabinet, let me add that, just so it's like the game within the game. And then when you walk up to each cabinet, like it actually shows you the games that are on that cabinet, like actual screenshots as you're walking by. So it's really well done. Several of these newer versions of Pac-Man are multiplayer. So like I've played with the kids, they're like 4-player. There's like a battle royale version that was released in 2011 that you can play at like your local Dave and Buster's or GameWorks or something. That one's in here. There's like a, Pack in Time where it's like a full-on story, like an RPG. They're just such different versions. There's Pac-Man 256, which was released in 2015. That's a up to 4-player one with like all these different skins and like
I
I
think I've
play that
played
with
the
the
4-player
kids.
one. I think they have that at the Barcade on 27th
Yeah.
in
So
New
fun.
York.
Like
Yeah.
we're sucked in. Like I find myself finding more games, like just more love for it every time I find some little nuance that I didn't know about before.
I know it would be a licensing nightmare, but maybe like an Atari or someone Midway, someone like that who has like a really a good roster in house already of classic arcade games. But doing this with like, I mean, this build your own arcade thing with multiple IPs, I guess, would
Dude.
be
Oh,
nostalgia orgasm, I'm sure.
are you kidding me? Like to do this with just like a bunch of imagine an all NES or an all Atari or like some kind of thing that you know, yeah, I'm sucked in. Like I said, I unlocked new wallpaper yesterday, and I was like, I gotta switch it up now. Like some new characters came. Yeah, it just like there's a jukebox, obviously, so you're unlocking different tracks from the games you like. So it has like the Pac-Mania that I
That's
like,
cool too. Yeah.
but then it has like some weird old versions of games like Pac and Pal from 1983. I'm like, what is this? This is very, very quirky and different, but also I can understand why people like it. And it just I cannot believe I like it so much. There's like a game called Pack and Roll that's almost like Sonic where you're like a ball. Like
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I've never, I've played Miss Pac-Man. I've played obviously regular Pac-Man. I I don't think I've played any other than that 4-player one, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
That's newer. I don't think I've played any arcade versions. I think I
Ugh.
dabbled with that one Pac-Man on NES, and I didn't honestly care for it that much. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be a discovery and a half, a discovery flowchart and a half to fuck with that.
I highly recommend. Like even within each of the cabinets, it has like a game guide and a history section. So it tells you like released in this
Yeah,
year based
yeah.
on this part, with these variations. So you get to really understand more
Let's see,
about
yeah, you
the
know,
appreciation of that.
my dumbass would enjoy the fuck out of
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Get up on it. Um, yes. So second up on the retro mania hype train for the last month, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. You knew we were going to talk about it. You knew we were going to talk about it. Have you not seen it? If you have any kind of social media, you should know by now the game is absolute pure fire.
Up
Fire.
to
I played it
six
all the
players,
way.
right?
What's that?
Up to 6 players simultaneously.
Yeah, dude, it's
That's
great.
bonkers. That's
It's
bonkers.
great. I played it and the technology is so good that sometimes when you play multiplayer, it's either you play either co-op at home or online, not both. With this, it's
I
both.
heard this. Yeah,
Like,
like you do both. Yeah.
dude, I played it all the way through with the kids, and I played it all the way through with Jesse and the kids. So Jesse's out in Philly. He's playing online with us. We're chatting while I'm playing with the kids, couch co-op. You play it through, you unlock different characters. So like you start with obviously the Turtles, Splinter, and April is a playable character. But then you beat the game
It's
and another
remarkable
player.
that that's such a
Dude,
new thing that that you
dude,
could that or such an uncommon thing, I
I
guess.
I don't know,
Seems like the
but for
most
this game,
basic
it
of.
works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the right game to like we made it work, to display that.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah, I
if you
haven't played it
haven't,
yet, but it looks
oh,
good. I know those beat 'em ups, man. It's just fucking button jamming. I would play
no,
it though.
I mean
It's just a matter of it not being accessible.
I would say honestly, I loved the arcade ones back in the day, all the, 2 through 4 on the Nintendo, Super Nintendo. But I think this one is better because clearly the technology allows for more. So there's more. Each turtle has more moves. They level up this time, so they get even more moves and can be more powerful. So even if you like a certain turtle for whatever reason, like hey, I like Leonardo because I like swords. Um, Once he levels
Or
up,
because he's the more boring turtle, whatever your
or that
reason is.
too, or that too. Just as an example, I'm not saying he's my favorite. I'm just saying. But like, even if you like that, you might actually like playing with um, Master Splinter or Donatello more leveled up because their special moves are fire and they like wipe everybody out. You know what I mean? So It's
Does
it's
Donatello
like the
build? Does
classics plus.
Donatello build a contraption of some kind? Does he build something?
No, he does not build something. He
Oh, that
just.
sucks.
I mean, that bow staff is badass. I mean, you'll just see. You just gotta play and see. I'm not gonna spoil it. You got to experience it, man.
Fair. I appreciate that. Thank you for not ruining my experience.
Yeah. And throw it back at the end if you haven't already been spoiled with that. It's really cool. Go play it right now. If you ever like Ninja Turtles, go play it. Game Pass, both of them.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything of any negative.
And you won't.
Yeah.
You won't. There's no reason. It won't happen. I defy you to find somebody saying something negative about it, unless they're like nitpicking, and then it's like, okay, fine. There's one a-hole out there to do that.
Yeah. Oh, they exist for sure. There's probably a whole Reddit subreddit just for that, just for people nitpicking at the new Turtles game.
For the 10 people out of the millions who love it. Yeah, I mean those two games I honestly have taken most of my time. Next up, I actually surprisingly, I think it was because there was a perk out on Game Pass where you get like some new skins. I was just kind of bored and I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, I downloaded it. So I jumped back into Avengers, Marvel's Avengers. And I didn't know you know, it's a game that Courtney and I were both playing together. We played very far through it and I couldn't remember how close we were to finishing it, but like I basically jumped in and finished the main campaign in like 10 minutes. So clearly we were closer than we thought the last time we played.
To beat him
And
up,
then
yeah.
what's that?
I assume it's a beat him up.
Yeah. It's but I know that they've done a lot to try to fix it. So I was kind of like, it was definitely unfinished when it first came out, and so that was contributed to us stopping playing. But I know there'd been a lot of improvements and DLCs, and so I kind of want to give it another shot because it was fun, if they could fix those things. And yeah, it's actually more fun than I remember now. So I think they've made things smoother. So I've started the Future Imperfect DLC with Old Man Hawkeye and a version of Hulk I've never seen. After this, I'm going to go on to the Black Panther DLC, and I'm kind of excited to get back into that, hoping that it keeps my interest because it was a fun game minus the kind of the bugs and stuff before. So
Cool.
gotta love the multiplayer aspects.
Did you not? Is that thing you sent? Is that not something you got as well? That Atari fucking the 50th anniversary thing?
Oh no, that's coming soon. I don't think that's out yet. That is not out yet. I just saw the announcement for that. I was like, "What Atari collection?"
Yeah,
Give it to me.
I've been seeing shit for they're doing. What do you call it? Like a fucking collector's edition, I guess is the best terminology. Versions of some of the original OG carts, and then I mean they're actual 2600 carts. I saw the one for Adventure, and I want it pretty bad. Of course, comes with like a nice box, and it's fucking got a bunch of bullshit with it. The cart worked, it's like a functioning 2600 cart that you put in on OG 2600. They're $99 a piece, I think. So it's a lot of money for a 2600 cart that I already own, even no less. But yeah, the Adventure one, just because of the significance of it, is very appealing to me. And that was one that like I didn't play it as a kid, didn't appreciate it as a kid, and you've heard so much about it. First Easter egg, yada yada, first role playing game, essentially. All this, the formative nature of it, how significant it was historically, that I finally fucking approached it, read the manual, and approached it as an adult, however long ago it was, and like it is pretty damn good, especially for an Atari game. And that I think so. Maybe I feel like I don't know. It's like I feel like a guilt or an indebtedness to it that inclines me more to want to pay for it. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I can stave it off.
That's fair. I would just love if that comes out. What we're talking about is this Atari 50. So apparently, like there's 100 classic Atari games coming to Xbox in November, and so I'm super pumped about that. The only thing that would make that better is if like I can get an Atari controller, like classic controller that I can use with the Xbox.
That has to be possible. If not like an officially licensed, you have to be able to get a knockoff or some shit like that.
Because that's the only thing, dude. That's the only.
Well, that's like my immediate response to it was like, if you need another testament that the Atari VCS is failing miserably, that they're going to license this thing onto Xbox. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that, but it probably does. And I see them pitching the fuck out of that too. I just I guess follow the Atari fucking Insta, and they have all these. We've talked about the newer. I made a joke about what Centipede or whatever, some game that like I haven't seen a new one. You're like, oh, there's a fucking new one right here, 3000 or whatever the fuck it is. And they have that for all of them. Like I've been seeing pictures of the Yar's Revenge reboot or remaster or whatever, and it's like it's like it has that same thing. I saw it mentioned as a specific feature. It has that same thing as the Wonder Boy 3 remaster, where you can instantaneously switch between the original version and the new one, whenever you want. Yeah, that's definitely cool, and that's in there. And I mean the visual of the Yar's Revenge specifically, like fucking looks beautiful. The new one, I'm sure it's the same fucking vibe. Control wise, but I would love to play them, but there's just no chance. I just can't even begin. There's no way I'm buying an Atari VCS. I'm not gonna do it. I love the way it looks. I even love the remote controllers. I love the aesthetic of it to no end. They did a fantastic job with that, but I'm not paying you $300 to put another brick in my fucking on my console that only does that stuff. It's just not, unfortunately, not enough value there. It's just not.
No chance.
Anything else?
Nah, that's pretty much it, man. I re-downloaded Destiny 2 because I really want to get back into that. It was so much fun. Like I own the game. I just space. I need space. So I re-downloaded that, but I haven't really got back into it yet. But I'm planning to because that game was fun in the past. I need some more co-op battle action. Is what I need. Something a little different.
Halo's off the fucking fell off the wagon or on the wagon.
Well, I mean, Halo is just PvP. This is like I play Destiny to like do co-op campaigns and stuff. So you know what I mean? Which I know is coming to Halo soon, which will be freaking cool. I can't wait. I'll definitely jump back into that when that happens. But yeah, I need kind of that co-op, like let's go. So another reason I've been playing ESO, I guess I should mention as well. I've been playing through a lot more of ESO.
You don't need to mention it, Jay. We know it's like me talking about walkabout. It's like
that's the ongoing. Like it's more like more of the same.
My first day on your RSS feed, it is not, guys. We know that you're playing those games.
Exactly. So yeah, but I mean they came out with a new chapter, so me and Courtney have been playing through the previous ones that we hadn't finished up just to be able to dive into the new ones. But gotta love it. A lot of new improvements there, and I can't say enough about the game. It just keeps continuing. Like I dropped it multiple times. I've taken multiple months breaks and come back to it, and here I am. It's still fun.
Word. Should still play Outer Wilds. Okay.
I was considering downloading that the other day. No joke. I was like, but then I looked at my backlog. I was like, no, it's gotta wait. No.
You gotta have a clean slate. You gotta be able to immerse yourself. Don't half-ass it. That was my mistake the first time. Although there was something about, I don't know. That's I just watched this video the other day that the people who appreciate it's just like it's the same as me, like fucking on the podcast crying about it. It's like it's just so beautiful and so. It's just so, I don't know, man. I don't even have the adjective. It's just so much. And I was watching this video the other day, the Lore Explorer, and he's, I don't know if it's just Outer Wilds, but he has a lot of Outer Wilds videos. And he goes in and he, hypothesizes about like really deep analysis concepts that like go beyond just maybe what you surface would take from the game or whatever. It's just he goes deep. And there was one he had the other day about how let's see if I can do this without spoiling anything, but like he was basically saying that like every there's no way to go through that game in its entirety really played the way it's supposed to without a guide or anything. If you like play it and experience the way incrementally that you're supposed to and you learn your way to the end, there's no way for two experiences to be the same. It's just there's just too much. There's too many variables, So he was saying how, because of the way it works and it's that time loop thing, he was trying to rationalize the idea that everyone who's ever played the game in real life, their experience is part of the actual, because of the multiverse concept of the time loop and every single sequence of events, even in our real world, happening in that world. It's fucking wild. It was a wild concept, but it was just so a deep thought experiment that just the fact that the game can initiate that in someone and do it and it be grounded enough of an idea that, I'm not the only one who watched that video. It's got like fucking 300,000 views or something. So like the idea that it could be an idea that off the fucking rails and deep could be not only conceived by someone and like thoughtfully explained, but also be enjoyed and consumed by a semi-mass audience that has also played the game, probably most of them anyways. And it's just a wild ass idea, and there's just so much going on and so fucking deep that like, yeah, you have to fucking like, you gotta really. And what I was getting at there was how I put it down and picked it back up at a later date. So like that's like I almost was gonna say that I kind of regretted doing that, and like it was because I didn't give it enough of a. I just didn't wrap my mind around it and give it enough the first time, but it kind of made for the second revisit. It made for a unique experience, basically, that I clearly wouldn't have had the way I did if that had not existed, So there was like this period in the middle of the game or wherever I was at in the game that like I had to kind of relearn everything, and like it changed the way obviously I would have experienced it if I would have just stuck with it and like didn't have that regression essentially, So
how long did it take you to complete the game?
Total, fuck, man. I don't have any fucking clue. I would guess I probably put that first time somewhere between 10 and 15 hours into it the first time.
Oh, okay.
And the second, well, that I'm saying that was the first go round, and then the second time probably more like another 30, 40-ish, and then the DLC another 20. So, but and because I was like hardcore not looking shit up. Like I'm not doing it. I'm not ruining this. So, there was nothing that I didn't have to just figure out. I think there were a couple things I looked up that were like, it was again, like we've talked about with Shadowgate, like a functional problem. That was like, I don't understand something, just the UI, So there were a couple things I looked up like that. But as far as like puzzles or like trying to find something, like I wasn't looking anything up. So,
Okay. So I could conceivably get it done in a week off if I.
Sure. Yeah, if you really dove in, for sure.
If I was really focused.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Anyhow, that's not what I was playing, although I regret that now that I'm saying it. The first thing I want to talk about is I started fishing again. And it was a while ago that it came out, but they had the US, because originally the real VR fishing is what I'm talking about, by the way. I guess I should specify that. But they had the original game, or the base game is in Korea. It's in South Korea. So all the locations are there. And a while ago, they had released a US West DLC. That's all the western half of the United States locations. And I hadn't downloaded it. And for some reason or another, picked it back up and was like, I'll just fucking get it. I think I don't know if I saw something in the notes that incentivized, I can't recall, but I downloaded another $10 I downloaded and gave me, some new locations. And obviously it's just, there's something about, clearly just having a familiarity that makes it a little more interesting. So I got that. And it's like I was reminded, like the physics, that game, it's just so beautiful, and the physics are so fucking good with fishing. And I haven't been since I was a kid, so like I don't have any basis by which to make that, to form that opinion, really, a real life comparison. But like it just feels so good and right. So even if it's not spot on with how actual fishing is, it's well done either way. So and yeah, it looks fucking great. And they've introduced, like that's kind of why I stopped playing, because they introduced this bait and bobber fishing aspect of it, and it's just more complicated. Like you have instead of just lures, you now have live baits. And I thought that I didn't like with the bobber fishing, you don't like with the lure fishing, there's kind of a little more like you kind of control the lure and make it do shit to, at least in your mind, maybe it's psychosomatic, but be more appealing to the fish. So like that was kind of appealing to me at first. When they took that away, or not took it away, but when using that aspect of it took that out of the game, I thought I didn't like that at first. But what I didn't realize was there's a lot more intricacy to the fish, and they have behaviors that are in the like fish catching log that you can exploit or appeal to more specifically with the bobber fishing. So there's 3 different depths that the fish operate at. So you like before you cast it, you can set your depth of bait from the surface, from the bobber, so that's like allows you to target a specific fish a little more. And then obviously the actual different baits. So like going in and using the fish log and targeting the ones that I have not caught yet, obviously strokes that little collectathon thing that you can get from fucking games, and that is obviously highly appealing. You can take the fish, you can keep them in your fish tank in your fucking cabin. So like, catching specific fish, really cool looking ones, yada yada yada. You actually get to look at them in your tank, which is very appealing. So like opening that up to me has made it a great deal more appealing too. And then they're adding, so there's like 20 locations ish, I think, for the base DLC, and then they're adding every month or so. They're adding 2 more to this DLC, so they're adding more US West locations. So you're just like getting fed more stuff. They're servicing it. They're constantly updating it. They're constantly fucking adding shit. There's like a reward mechanic where if you log in, that you get gear for your fucking dude, and like it's just it's very well curated, I guess. And they're if you want to get into the online aspect of it, they have seasons, and they fucking you compete against the others, you can win shit and yada yada yada. So there's it's very well curated, the community and the ongoing experience. So it's pretty fucking cool. And it's just I don't engage that obviously, but it's just a fun, relaxing thing that Amy and I can jump into and do for as little as like 15-30 minutes at the end of the night before she fucking falls asleep with her headset on, like so it's just I think it would be a really great way to hang out with someone who's far away. Like we're always talking about how the VR hangout aspect and like is a really cool thing. Demio obviously has that, but a lot of these games have this social element to them, and this one's great because it's like you can do public rooms too, where you just with random fuckers, but you can do a private room and get a few people together, or just one. Like I would love to get Jab's fucking cunty ass into it, and I think it would be a cool way to just hang out together. But you can see the other person fishing. You can see them fighting with the fish. You can see with them luring it in. Like I have a video, like and you have an in-camera or in-game phone that you can take pictures with too. So like was like when Amy was catching her very first shark, and she was all fucking frazzled and shit because it's hard to catch the sharks. And like, I'm taking in-game photos of that as it's happening, as it's coming out of the water into her boat. Like it's just a really cool social experience that I think would be really enjoyable with the group of people that you would want to hang out with. And it's like it's the perfect balance of like, nothing happens. You can bullshit, and then oh shit, something crazy's happening. That's exciting. With the fucking sharks or catching anything, whatever. So I know you hate fishing, dude, but I'm telling you, man, I think you'd get into it if you started doing it.
I was gonna say, it sounds like something that would be absolutely amazing if you like fishing. That sounds great.
That's the thing, though. I've been fished since I was like 10. I don't have I clearly don't like fishing enough to do it. I think about it idealistically as something I would like to do again, but it's like surfing. Like I'd have to go buy the board, and then like I don't know, it's just fucking. Then where do I keep the board? I don't fucking know. It's a pain in the ass to actually engage. But this digital version of it is like a pretty fucking good, and like it's all the best parts without the nasty shit on your hands and having to push it on hooks and like take the fish off the fucking hook. And what do you do with the fish if you either let it go and then the poor bastard's got a ripped mouth for the rest of its life, or you fucking gotta cut it up and eat it, which I like fish, but I don't want to cut it up and eat it. Like I don't want to do anything. So like, it's all the good shit, none of the bad shit. It's great.
That's awesome.
Let's say with surfing, like if there was a VR surf game, like I wouldn't have to almost get eaten by sharks in my mind to engage it, and that'd be great. It's the best parts, not the shitty ones. So that's what VR is fantastic.
Oh,
So the new Demio campaign dropped on the 16th, and you still haven't played it, right? Oh my god, dude.
still have not played it, man.
Ugh, you bet your sweet ass I was all over that. So the night before it dropped, I was so excited that I got tuned up by doing a full boss rush of all three of the pre-existing campaigns: the Elven King, Elven Queen, the Rat King, and Mother Sign, the Root Lord. And I didn't set out to do it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm good, this is my plan, you know. I just like I was like, I definitely want to play and do a thing the night before just to fucking, you know, I don't know, I'm excited. So I drop it. I'm doing quick plays, random quick plays, and the first one I do drops me into the middle of the boss battle against Rat King. So like all the way at the end, and he like half his life is gone. So like really easy to knock that one out. And then I come out of that, and the next random one I do drops me into a Black Sarcophagus run that's halfway through, and that's such a cake thing that I burned right through it. So I finished the first two, and I'm like, I mean, I gotta
do the next one.
Yeah, I gotta do the hat trick, you know. So then, yeah, I sat and did. I was up late as fuck that night doing a full Root Lord run through the forest. So like, played all fucking. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot for sure. Especially considering, you know, I maxed it on experience at that point. So there's no numerical benefit to it. It's just literally to say I hat tricked it, you know, in one night. So. Nice. Anyways, the new campaign is fucking amazing. It's a desert setting. It's called The Curse of the Serpent Lord. There's a new character in it, the Warlock, that's fucking badass. She's like, you know, she's got spells and shit, but she's also got a cat side, like a kind of a like lion or panther-esque. Yeah, I think it is. It is. Yeah, no, I shouldn't say I think it is. It is definitely a no, what do you call it? Not mythical, but ethereal cat. You know, so yeah, she can like mark things. The cat attacks it. The cat acts autonomously too on its own and attacks things. So she's pretty. I mean, I almost feel like she's like a little OP kind of. You know, there's a few things about the new that I think are going to get rebalanced. There's new cards that stack. There's a vitality card that adds 3 HP, max HP, I mean. So like, and you can, I don't even know if it stops there, but I've stacked as many as 3 and got it to 19 HP, which is like, you're fucking,
what?
Yeah, you're
like a tank.
Yeah, you're invincible at 19 HP. So like, I think that's too OP. I think that's got to rebalance and not be stackable or something. And yeah, there's new magic power cards. So instead of just the strength, there's like specifically, and maybe strength doesn't. I haven't fence tested that enough to know. Maybe strength no longer affects magic power, but yes, there's a magic power specifically card that only adds to magic damage, and there's some other ones too. I can't think off the top of my head, but there's that, and yeah, there's a handful of other new cards that like kind of break the earlier thing, because this happened with the forest one too. The couple of new cards for that also started appearing. Like the vortex lamps, I think, were new in that, and that stuff was then available in the first 2 campaigns, the Rat King and the Black Sarcophagus. And those dungeons aren't built for this stuff, you know. They're like already the enemies. I don't know. It's just not like they're very like the water card that's for the desert, like that. It's a 3 HP bonus that gives you life, and it also is to wash away this rage shit that is kind of like a poison that's on the ground in a lot of places and grows out of these crystals that some of the enemies can use to their advantage, you know. So it's like a very well balanced mechanic in the desert, but it's kind of a useless card in the rest of the game. So why even have it? You know interesting. What I mean? So I think that is something that also should rebalance, that some of these like very highly specific new introductions for the new campaigns should be scrubbed from the ones where they're not meant to be. You know what I mean? So that's one thing to maybe work out as a kink wise. But yeah, the new character's fucking awesome, and fun little fucking story. I saw my boys on the Rough Talk VR posting some swag that Resolution Games had sent them, a book for a new campaign it's just like the fucking in-game D&D module style books, you know? So I was so goddamn envious that I slid into the DMs of Revolution and coerced them. I was texting you guys about this, and Amber Moak in particular, thanks Amber, into sending me that bad boy in the mail. So it came earlier this week, and it is the same day as my Ninja Bros versus Chaos t-shirt, actually. So it was a great mail day, but fucking sweet ass book. And in the back of it, even there's a bunch of cool shit in there, artwork, and it goes into some of the monsters and shit. And yeah, I didn't mention that either. There's some cool ass new fucking monsters. That one that's called the Rift Serpent, I think it is. It teleports characters around, both bad and good, and it does it a fucking lot. So it's like the Mystics, but this thing is also fucking a tank, attack wise. So it's the best of both worlds from the enemy perspective. But the figurine for it is fucking awesome looking, like really fucking cool. There's a lot of cool looking shit. The Reptile Brute 2 I posted on our socials is fucking like, it's this huge like mutant fucking dragon kind of thing, and it's got like swords and arrows sticking out of its back and shit, and its teeth are all fucked up. Like, it looks awesome, like really, really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of new enemies and shit, and they cover that in there. But on the last page of the book, it teases the setting for the next campaign that's coming later in the year, which I didn't even know that specifically, that there's a campaign due out later this year. But the exact verbiage is, the band of intrepid adventurers take a trip into a town for the very first time. So it'll be a village setting, and that's pretty fucking dope. That I can't wait for.
Nice.
Like, it didn't even occur to me that like, I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, yeah, I guess not. There's not like just like an urban, map yet. So the desert one is kind of, it's the lore around it is it's this town in the desert that was formed originally as like a haven in a fucked up part of the desert, and then the people there took allegiance to some religious figure that ended up manipulating them and turning them evil, and it became kind of this bad place because of it. So pretty fucking fun. Yep.
I like the variation. I like that there's I didn't even know there was another campaign coming. So that actually makes me more excited.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Yeah, we gotta jump in and play. It's fucking great. I actually had a buddy, one of my college buddies, friends went to high school with the Danny Dave crew, from next door. Brian Hoffman, he had been like lurking on Twitter, seeing me posting shit about it and stuff, and interacting with Demio, and he plays D&D, I guess. So he'd been lurking on it for a while, and like asked me like, should I get it? I'm like, yeah, you should fucking get it, fucking for sure. And he sometime like early last week or something, he sends me a picture of him at a store at the display, and he's like, $400, is it worth it? I'm like, I think you can get for $300 online. Like, I don't look around before you buy it. And I guess he didn't buy it, and I fucking he said something to me about it again. I just sent him the link on Amazon for the $300 version for the 128 gigabyte headset, and he's like, he sends me the confirmation a second later, like fucking arriving at between 4 and 8 a.m. the next morning. I'm like, gonna be fucking up at 4 a.m. looking out your fucking window for the fucking Amazon guy.
Hopefully it's a Saturday. Hopefully it's a Saturday.
It was definitely a fucking weekday, definitely a Tuesday or something. Like court in the morning, like fucking up. So he fucking got it. We played a thing last week, and he had never played it. Like, he like skirmished like for like one board or so, one floor of a dungeon before then we got in. Like, total tutorial experience. But actually, two other young players, like pretty inexperienced players. So I'm like fucking running a goddamn clinic on a black sarcophagus run. Took us like fucking an hour and a half to do the first level because we're like incrementally fucking teaching 3 people, but. It's such cool. I've like I said before how fucking cool it is. Kind of the sharing of ideas that game has and curates is really fucking cool. They added 4 more levels and accompanying aesthetic upgrades, 2 new figurine bases, a new set of gloves, and something else I can't recall, like an archer costume, I want to say maybe. But the level 62 base is fucking dope. It's called the Occult Boneyard is the name. It's a skeleton half sticking up out of the ground below your feet. Fits right in with my go-to assassin build, as you might imagine. The new gloves at 63 are not cooler than the skeleton hands, but they are. I've seen them. People are using them, so they must be kind of appealing. And I've actually yet to quite hit 64, Jay, if you can fucking believe that. Despite being up late last night doing my first successful Rat King run, full run in a long time. But
that's like grind on. Get your grind on.
Keep exactly. Going. Yeah, I'm super close to it though. I want to see what it is. It can't be cooler than that Boneyard thing. The Boneyard is so cool, especially for the assassin build. But shall see. I like that they're still knocking out new things for that. 64 is weird. I don't know. I mean, I guess it takes time to build the assets and whatever, but I feel like it's something that should be like a focus that is like continually incentivizing players to stick with it. So that's it for Demio. That's it for Demio talk today. I did have a little bit of walkabout talk that we jumped into a sesh a few weekends back, and in talking through you designing your avatar, I found out that I could make new characters that are multiple characters on my account, and then you can switch between them at will in the clubhouse. And so I designed that Bill's Mafia Maniac that you saw there. And then I realized that a new character has a completely clean slate on everything in the game. Like basically like you just downloaded. So you haven't found any balls, you haven't found any putters, you don't have any course records, nothing at all, you know. So yeah, basically been ball hunting nonstop. Ball hunting and putter hunting nonstop for the last week, and it has been fucking glorious. Like, it's been long enough that, you know, I remember a lot of them, of course, but some of them I don't recall where shit is. So, like, you know, I'm like the Bogies Bonanza putter thing. Like, I spent a while on it fucking last night or a day or two ago because I could not remember where this fucking clue was. It's like, you know, getting the whole feeling again. That was really good. Happy as a pig and shit. And then the last thing, yes, the new thing to talk about is Green Hell VR, which is what's behind me right now. It is survival in the jungle, and it is fucking intense, man. Like, really, really fucking intense. It's very reminiscent of The Forest, and I'm assuming you never played that, right? As a survival game.
No, that does not sound.
Yeah,
That does not ring a bell.
I played it on PS4. I'm sure it was on. I mean, I know it was on Xbox also, but it's also a survival game, of course, and you're in a plane crash on a remote island, and the island is inhabited by natives that are like pretty fucking hostile, and you're trying to find your kid the whole time, you know. And really great game, and the like the building mechanics in that were fucking awesome. You could build these cool forts and like catapults, and like, you know, you got like kind of too far in all honesty. And the story was dog shit, and like the mechanics in it were not good, but it was a really appealing idea and really fun to play for quite a while until again, like this, I soured on the story, and like you started to see the it's happened in this a little bit too with these games that are kind of these wide open things like this, especially with a lot of the building mechanics. You start to kind of see the Matrix with it a little bit, and it becomes the discovery goes away. Like, the cool part about these games is like discovering how to survive in this environment is really appealing. But once this is where Subnautica really excelled, is that never went away. You never lost the learning and the fucking whatever you never like saw the game. It was always an immersive experience of learning and fear and whatever. This game and The Forest both had it where you started to like, oh, I just need to do ABC and then I'm fine. You know, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You learn how just kind of what the beats are to hit, and the discovery of it goes away. There's just not enough nuance, I guess, or variance to, like, the thing I was thinking about today. Like, you know, in this one, you have to, there's all these intricate homeostasis systems that are way better than The Forest in that regard. Your diet needs to be well rounded. Like, you have proteins, fats, carbs, and water, obviously, most notably. So there's a bunch of nuance where you're like, you know, you got to eat a bunch. You got to have fruit to keep your carbs up. You got to have fats to keep your, or you got to have, you know, like, not just like, you can kill a rattlesnake and you can get meat from that, but rattlesnake meat is too lean. It doesn't have enough fats. So you got to kill things. If you're going to use meat to satisfy your fats problem, you can also do coconuts. Coconut meat has fats in it. But yeah, you got to eat the right things to keep those certain things up. And like, you know, you can eat grubs and spiders and shit and scorpions to keep your protein up, but that shit is a drag on your sanity, which is another metric that needs to be minded. If you eat fucked up shit, it hurts your mental state, you know. So there's that, and then there's a bunch of plants and fungi that have positive and negative impacts. You can get food poisoning, and there's certain things you can do to counteract that, fungi wise and stuff. You can have, like, if you don't wash your hands and you eat shit, if you go too long without washing your hands and you eat shit, you can get bacteria from that and get food poisoning. So there's just all these really intricate systems that are focused on the idea of surviving all this bullshit you have to deal with if you were stuck in the fucking jungle without, you know, a survival kit. So it's really fucking interesting in that regard. And, you know, you don't know what plants are until you try them. So there's an incentive to experiment and put yourself at risk, which is kind of fucking cool. And then you do have a log, so you don't have to memorize all the shit. And also, even within your like backpack, you can like once you know what something does, it has little icons. And you don't have to fucking memorize that shit. So that's cool. That doesn't put too much on your plate in that regard, but there is a discovery thing to it. And then fatigue is a problem. You got to sleep. You can get physical wounds. And this is what I was getting at a moment ago. Like, you gotta scale, you gotta cross these fallen logs and stuff to get across things. And like it's like the controls are too good, kind of, like if you were paying attention, you can flawlessly walk across every log in the game. And like, that's kind of bullshit. Like there should be more slipping and stuff. Like I fell for the last night for the first time, and I've been playing, I don't know, probably 15, 20 hours now. And for the first time I fell and got a wound, and like, there's a little, like a leaf thing you got to do when you get a surface wound like that to wrap it up. And then it heals over time on its own. And there's like you have some fucking like movement debuffs that happen while that's going on, so it's cool how it executes it, but you don't, like I said, if you were looking down and paying attention. And that was the thing. Like, I was like not paying attention. I was like kind of, which it's cool that this could even happen. Like, I was going up a log and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a fucking cave over there that I haven't been in. And I'm like kind of looking at that a little bit as I'm going up, and like basically got distracted and fell off the fucking log, and fucked up my fucking, it should have been my leg. That's the one shitty thing. For the Oculus version specifically, the Oculus version does not have, like, you can see your arms, and like there's leeches, for example, in the game. You constantly fucking deal with leeches, so you gotta like physically pull them off your fucking arms when you see them. But to see them, you gotta remember to look at your arms and check, so like, and they have a negative sanity impact and a negative health impact if you're not paying attention, so you're constantly checking your fucking arms. And the other VR versions of it, the PC VR version has legs also, and you got to check your legs for the same problems, and they can also get hurt. So if you fall, your leg can get hurt, and then you got to bandage your leg up, But there's no legs in the Oculus version, and like I didn't know that. So like I was playing the first 10 hours of the game, and I'm like hitting every button combination, like, because I see the videos in the trailers and stuff of the legs, and I'm like, where the fuck? How do I check the fucking legs? And I keep seeing, and I think it's fucked up, and I think they might even still be wrong. But I was asking, because I got wind of this game from the Rough Talk guys, and the fucking, I posted to that first 8-minute video of the first me just getting into it. And they're like mentioning something, and I asked them like, "How the fuck do you check your legs?" And like, "Oh, that's not in this version." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like, I've been trying, like, because it says like when you wake up from, like, you'll periodically see the little notification like leeches. Like when you wake up from some sleep, if you slept with leeches on, you get a little fucking negative thing sanity thing from it. And I'm fucking pretty sure that I have went to bed, like I cleaned all the leeches off, go to sleep, and then wake up and get that notification. So like, I think my legs are there still, kind of, and I just don't know how to access them. And I can't fucking find anything about it, even saying that they just aren't there on the web. I can't find any explanation of how to check your legs or that they're not there for the Oculus version, I need
That's
to just,
so odd that they would have two different, that would operate differently like that.
right. Well, I mean, yeah, I think, it's probably, obviously the Quest is a mobile platform. It's not up to speed with PC VR headsets as far as the technical aspects go. So I'm sure it has something to do with that. And that was probably why they made the decision. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I was like, I just like literally standing in my living room, like yelling about shit, like pissed off that I can't figure out how to check my leg for leeches. It's fucking hilarious. So yeah, so there's that. And then the crafting is fucking huge. You're trying to discover and make new things that, improve your quality of life, of course. So, the story is your girl, like you and your girl are scientists that go into the forest or go to this jungle with the intent of, and you're like deployed by someone who has money or some foundation or something. So you have like a proper jungle fucking setup thing to go to the place, a tent and shit. So you and your girl go, and she is the one that's more savvy with native relations or something. Like, your intent is to meet and make contact with these natives that are living in the jungle, these aboriginals that are, I forget the reason for it, and she disappears. Like, she goes out to meet them on her own without telling you the one morning, because she thinks she doesn't want you to go, because she thinks you'll be a fucking problem. So she goes out on her own, and then she disappears. And so you're like frantically trying to find her. That's what gets you off in the thing. And then you find the place, that maybe she could be at, but you get chased away and you end up getting hurt in the chase. So you like, you run, you wake up, you fall into a fucking thing, you wake up from getting knocked out, and you don't know where the fuck you're at. You don't have any of your shit, and you don't know where your girl is. You got your radio though, so you can communicate with her, and that's how you kind of get through the story is these radio communications with her, and you're trying to like first, it's kind of like Subnautica. You're like, got to figure out how to eat, and then I got to build a camp, and then I got to fucking like be able to sleep, and like yada yada yada. So you're like trying to just initially figure out these things and the building mechanics, and they do a really good job with the VR and the building. Like you gotta like to make fire, you gotta bang fucking a rock and a flint. You gotta like take the sticks, build the thing, and then like bang the shit together to fucking spark the thing on the dry leaves to get the fire going. And like when you're building a little lean-to shelter, you gotta like get one of the long logs. You gotta take a tool that you've built and you gotta hammer the fucking thing in, and then you gotta do the other one, and like you make the little cross, and then you gotta take the rope vines you pull off these trees, and you gotta like actually physically wrap them around the fucking thing. And like I said, like I mentioned, when you're wrapping your arm up from a wound, you actually got to do the wrapping motion. And so it does a really good job of embracing the fact that you have this freewheeling fucking control, for a lot of the fishing, like fishing with spears and shit. I'm like standing in the river, like, God, fucking you're like missing the fish, and like there's a bow and arrow, and you got to shoot shit, and like it's all done pretty fucking well. It glitches out, it gets a little wonky every now and again, but relatively speaking, I think they did a good job with that. And like, Amy fucking thinks it's hilarious. Like I'm standing in the fucking living room, and like I'm like. The other day, she's like, "What the fuck are you doing in that game right now?" And I'm like, and like it occurs to me like what my body looks like while I'm doing this. Like I'm like, I gotta like take my coconut shell over to the river, fill it up with water. I hit my broken coconut shell, and then go over to the fire to boil it in the fire. So I gotta like set it down in the fire, and like I stand there and just look at it and wait for it to boil, and then I pick it up and hold it to my face to fucking drink it. Like it must look fucking hilarious, in the real world. But yeah, again, just the mechanics. It's really well done in that regard, and yeah, I mean it's like easily the most interesting, engaging first person VR experience I've had. Except for maybe the brief Subnautica opportunity I had. So, pretty fucking good, especially for an Oculus offering. And it far from perfect. There's like I mentioned, agitated with the controls sometimes. The story is fucking horrible. The relationship you're living out with your girlfriend over that radio is like nails on a fucking chalkboard, dude. She is fucking horrible. I hate every time I got to talk to her. I just cannot click through the conversation. It's so bad. She's like, I don't know, man. I think she's, I'm not knowing the game, so I guess this isn't spoilery, because I don't know if it comes to fruition, but like I feel like she's like she's gonna turn on me or something. I feel like she's not like steering me into bad shit, but like I don't know. Everything she says is just kind of like, I don't know. It sucks. She sucks. She's terrible, man. She sucks. Like I just feel bad about everything she says. It sucks. It's like just like she's just, I don't know. It's like this like empty support. It's like this empty supportive stuff. And she just keeps saying, like, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. Like, like, what do you mean you're fine? Like, you're fucking what do you mean you're fine? Like my whole thing is trying to find you. Like, why won't you just tell me where you're at? Or like, give me some clues, So it's like, I feel like she's fucking just going to deceive me in some way, shape, or form. Or she's being forced to deceive me in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, yeah, what if somebody else is holding it? Like, she's not actually using it,
Right. Yeah. So that's possible. Who knows? I mean, it's definitely her. You can hear her talking. It's her.
No, I mean, like, if somebody's basically, like, you say the wrong thing and you're,
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, that's possible. Who knows? And, like, yeah, there was another thing, too. Like, at one point, his radio dies. It says it. He's like, oh, the battery's dead. Fuck. And there's a lot of that, just, like, over-expositional fucking talking, of course, just to, whatever, handhold with you. And then, like, I don't know, fucking, however long later, a radio thing comes in from her and he's talking to her and he's like, oh, I just had to charge the batteries. It's like, charge the batteries where? Where the fuck did you charge the batteries? What do you mean you charge the batteries? I don't know. I guess I did eventually rationalize that maybe it has a solar thing or something on it. I don't know. But yeah, when it died, then he's like, I charged the batteries. I'm like, I didn't charge the batteries. Where the fuck did you charge the batteries? Where's the outlet, dude? What bro? What are we worried about surviving for if you have fucking charging capabilities? What the fuck? Like, yeah.
That's
really
great.
plot point there, but it's also a little overly linear too. Like especially for being in a jungle, like the hand holding can be suffocating at times. You're just like, I can just tell where you're just dragging me down the path to the next thing. Like I can feel that. I hate in fucking games when they do that. So that's yeah. But the play mechanics are so fucking great that yeah, you can weather those negatives without any problem. I think I recommend it for sure. So you were talking about like wanting some sort of story-based game like this is in a VR arena like this. I think you would definitely dig it. I mean, it's action-y enough that I think you would dig the fuck out of it for sure. All right. That's a lot. And we got a lot more with Michael Jackson's fucking Moonwalker coming up, so we should probably get to that.
That is the Dances theme, bringing us into Moonwalker. Let's get it.
Synopsis. Goodbye, world peace. Mr. Big, the psycho mastermind of crime, is wiping out love on our planet. He and his goons are kidnapping every child on Earth. They just all look like a little girl named Katie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Mr. Big plans to brainwash all these innocent children and turn them into his slaves. Mr. Big is the ultimate bad guy, and no one knows how to stop him until superstar Michael Jackson, alias Moonwalker, the champion of love and peace, takes charge. Only Michael can rescue the children and demolish Mr. Big and his hoods. To do it, Michael summons his star magic, the superpower sent to him on a shooting star. And there's more, but that covers the important shit. What kind of game is this?
Oh man, that was fantastic.
Only the beginning. Like I said, this is just an orgasm of creativity.
I mean, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up with platformer elements. I mean, that's really what it is, and
which
it does it well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If you didn't know anything about this game, and you're like, Michael Jackson has a video game. He's in it. He's the star. What kind of game do you think that is? Like, beat 'em up is not the first answer for anyone.
No. I mean, I do say he's dancing, or you're singing, you're on stage. There's some kind of aspect of dealing with fans, or you're saving the world. Also, you're making world peace happen, because I know that's important to him. Some kind of like you're stopping world hunger,
right? Some
kind of way. That's what I think of.
Right.
Broadly, how that plays out
in a video game, I don't know. Which maybe they tried to do that, and they were like, I don't know, man. How about a beat 'em up? He's like, okay.
I have more on that though. We'll get there.
Dude, I got more on everything. The release of this was July 24th, 1990, and that is only 4 days after the Japan release date. And the European release was also in July, so it was a worldwide rollout. Usually you have some staggering. Sega is less focused on that relative to Nintendo, but usually you don't get such a close worldwide release for these games at this time. So that's semi-significant. As far as stuff that happened on that exact date, the first mainstream reporting of amassing Iraqi troops at the Kuwaiti border began. A week later, Iraq would invade, and eventually this would lead to Operation Desert Storm, as well as the accompanying Pro-Set Desert Storm trading card sets that littered so many children's bedroom floors around this time. This is also the date in 1974 the Supreme Court ruled Nixon had to hand over the Watergate scandal tapes to prosecutors. If you give a shit about politics, maybe that's interesting to you. And in 1979, serial killer extraordinaire Ted Bundy was found guilty of murdering 2 sorority sisters, which led to him confessing to 30 more and being executed in January of 1989. So, not an uneventful day.
Not at all.
The cover art is exactly as batshit as insane as it should be for this video game. So let's see, what do we got here? We got Mike. Mike's here, of course, both his headshot looming large up above, as well as an in-shadow 3/4 length rendition of him in the Smooth Criminal video outfit. The backdrop is a starry night sky. There's a huge rainbow beaming down from above in the middle of the pic. There's a spaceship and some kids looking up into the sky on Mike's left. And on his right, these are soldiers in full combat gear with rifles. And it's a fucking lot.
This is fantastic. Are you kidding me? Like what?
It's just a smorgasbord of like interesting visuals and good looking.
No, cool. But I mean, you got to think he's the Moonwalker, man. Come on, he's like he's like the Neo of the 80s. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
he's
actually, before
Oh.
I'm not asking you to explain it further, but I just want to exploratorily ask this now. Did the word did Moonwalker mean anything to you other than this video game before you started doing this? Before you started playing this and researching this?
Yeah. I mean, he does the move like that's
Well,
his that's his move.
the
Yeah.
dance, yes, no, the
Yeah.
moonwalk dance, of course, everyone knows that. But I mean, Moonwalker as its own standalone creative work. Did that mean did it have any
No, not
significance?
at all. Not at
Okay,
all.
copy that. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't in a fucking hovel or something, some sort of hole at the time, and missed this huge thing that happened to everyone but me. Okay, copy that. So. It's got the black thatch border of the era, and the title is where it should be on all Genesis games in gold and silver metallic font. The back panel has 3 screenshots, the bigger of them depicting Mike leading a dance troupe of bad guys in the first bar scene. There's also some unique copy here that's not in the manual. That's always good. The manual, which is in the show notes, or the link to it rather, is in the show notes, and it is 22 pages, including covers. The cover is full color, innards are all black and white. That's kind of standard fare for these early Genesis games. We get into some controls discussion early on, and the star magic is explained on page 4. So this is enacted with the A button, and the longer you hold that button, the more powerful the magic that results will be. So a tap of A does the dancing spin attack. Holding it, a beat does the hat attack. It's like a projectile deal where he throws his fedora out in front of him, and you can make it boomerang back and forth across both sides of your sprite by pressing the D-pad right or left quickly, which I never remember to do after reading this, now that I think about it. An even longer depression of the button does the dance attack that I told you was the bigger picture, right? And this is the copy for this. It says, bop till they drop with your ultimate magic, the dance attack. Everybody, even Dobermans, must dance, but nobody can outdance Michael, obviously. This is fucking awesome. And even though it's almost always a waste of magic, it's so cool and it's so fun. It's a constant battle not to use it in the game. like the Dobermans are hilarious when they're dancing. And yeah, it's just, now that it's funny because all my dabbles with this, I'd never read the manual, and I never knew how to do this. I never knew how to enact it. The holding of the button
Ooh.
just didn't occur to me. So, and that's part of, well, one, it's part of why I love doing this podcast, but 2, it's also why this game has, it's always been an intrigue to me, but I've never quite got it. I've never really got anywhere in it. I've never embraced it enough to really play it in the way as long and as thoroughly as it should be played, because I didn't know how to do these things. And that's the thing. Like everyone, even not having played much of it, that I knew that could happen in the game, and I knew how cool that is and how badly I wanted to do it. I just didn't take the time and effort to figure out how to. So yeah, it's just I've never known how to do it, and having the fucking initiative to look it up now. So I was like just on pins and needles with excitement doing this part of the research to employ this in the game for the first time. I couldn't fucking wait. So yeah, just a really, really cool fucking thing. And one of the things that this game is probably most known for sure, that you can just make anything and anyone dance and do like a whole fucking thriller number with you. It's fucking so fucking cool, and such a great one of so many instances where this game just does, like we said, like it's completely out of fucking left field that it is the game that it is, that it's a beat up, yada, yada, yada. But like they do such a good job front to back with implementing this IP in a interesting, creative, and unique way throughout, that it's just incomprehensibly commendable. I can't believe how good of a job they did of taking something that should not really be video game material and making it a really interesting, unique video game. It's really fucking well done. So get the blessing out of the way now. No fucking suspense here. So there's a star magic meter that depletes with the use of these attacks, and that's why it's a battle not to use those functions, because it takes this magic meter away, which also is your life meter. So there's like, it's not just you run out of magic, you can no longer do attacks, and there's even they do a good job of changing that. I'll explain here in a moment too. Even your base attack that you do with your B button will diminish in effectiveness as your magic meter drops. So you're losing life, you're losing attack power is probably a better way to put it. And yeah, there's a major economy to overusing your magic skill. It does replenish as you pick up the little girls. So it's not like it's a finite thing for the whole stage, but you are aware that it affects you negatively to overuse that shit. So it's, pretty well, the economy is well done too, I think. So yeah, your base attack is B button, and how much capability and damage that has is dependent on where your star magic meter is. So if your meter is blue, which is, I want to say, more than half full, maybe if I had to guess, you get stars from his hands and feet when he kicks and punches, or kicks and what would you call that? Like a slap? I don't know what is that like. Where he fucking, like, it's the jump attack where he like slaps his arm out. I don't know what to call it.
I don't know. I feel like he's just kind of like posing. Like,
yeah, it's a dance. It's just some kind of dance move, I guess. So yeah, so stars will fly out from your hand or feet and extend the range of your attack. So that's crucial. And then if it's yellow, and I'd say this is between a quarter, maybe, and a half of the meter, your star's range is reduced to maybe half. And then if it's red, which is probably less than a quarter of life, you get no stars at all, and it's just the range of the actual hand and foot. And that is essentially like not being able to attack.
You're like useless.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So yeah,
it's basically like Michael's not really fighting anybody.
Yeah, Michael's going to his trailer. Michael will be in his trailer. So yeah, that's when that happens. It sucks, and like the only time that really comes up, unless you're fucking up majorly, is boss battles, and that's the worst time to have it happen too. So it is. Yeah, the economy of this is very important and has a lot of effect on the game. And you can moonwalk by pressing B and hitting left or right on the D-pad, so that's kind of cool too. And I actually forgot to do that as well. Now that I think about it, I need to fire the game up as soon as we finish here and do both those.
Right.
So then page 7 is getting started, or title getting started. They talk about the demonstration game, in quotations, that begins if you don't hit anything at the title screen. And it says, watch the 3 demos for hints on how to move through the first 3 rounds. And this was a thing for Wonder Boy 3 too, if you recall, the demos having supposedly useful hints in it. And that is a Sega only thing, that they bother to put something useful in there, at least by their own measure, that they incentivize you to engage it via the manual. That's just so Sega to me, and not Nintendo at all. That it's I don't know.
Like, it's commendable, but I didn't use it. I read this and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit and watch that. I'm gonna,
no.
Like, I don't know.
Especially, yeah, I was so excited to play it. Yeah, I didn't either, but whatever. But I don't know. It's
good to know, I guess.
I shouldn't say that, and I won't spoil it here. But there's the thing that is in the demo that I didn't know how to do and wasn't mentioned here in the manual, and I was frustrated about. And like, it was a thing that I saw it in the demo, but I wasn't paying attention. So I didn't really know what was happening. So when I got frustrated in the gameplay, I was like, I can't fucking remember what it was. And I had to save state, reboot the game, watch the demo a second, and like, oh, I see. And then go back to load the game and go back to it. So it is worth doing if you take the time. There is benefit to it because there was something that it helped me with. But that clearly is not everyone. Not everyone is stupid as me. The page 9 mentions that the star magic meter is also your life meter. We already talked about that. Page 11 has a little blurb on Michael's pal Bubbles. And it says, Bubbles appears in every round when all the children are rescued. He helps Michael find Mr. Big by pointing the way. Follow Bubbles' directions, then get ready for major mayhem. They do. That's a lot. There's a lot of that too. I've already cited a few of them, but there's a lot of like really flowery, colorful language in here that I appreciate. Page 12 gets into a level breakdown and explains that there are 5 rounds with 3 stages each. So that's the structure of the game progression. Page 15 is helpful hints. And the only mention in the whole manual of Michael's transforming into a robot is here. And it suggests you try and find a way to do that. That's the only explanation they give. And then they have try everything and practice, practice, practice.
What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice.
And there are 3 whole pages of their special score recording grids, so they really thought you'd be racking up some points in this bad boy. You don't need to make record of it. Jay, I can't even begin to guess what you're going to tell me as far as history goes. Don't give me Bubbles history, by the way. I reserve the right to all Bubbles shit is going to come from me.
Bubbles is all you.
I'm pulling right.
All right, so this game So first of all, it's based on the Smooth Criminal segment of the 1988 experimental anthology musical film of the same name, Moonwalker. And this is something I never saw as a kid. Like, did you see it? I
No,
didn't see
that's what I was
like,
asking you earlier. This is what I was asking you earlier. I didn't
dude,
know this was a fucking thing at all. I
dude,
got some shit about it too. Yeah, wild, wild,
dude, I
wild.
I knew it was a thing, and I saw like it was like, how can I describe it to you? It was like this magical thing I knew existed. Because back then when Michael did a music video or something, it was like a world premiere. Like it was like,
Super Bowl.
yeah, it was
Dude,
like
that
7
one
o'clock on Monday
video,
night.
that was the Super Bowl halftime show, was a Michael Jackson video. I don't remember if he performed or not. Like, I think it was just a video. And it was that one in the alley with the car where he's on top of the car doing the fucking thing, like that
Yes.
was like the
Yes.
1992. It was one of the Bills Super Bowls. It was the fucking, I
Dude.
remember watching it like, and it was like everyone sitting in the living room like, what is Michael's video going to be? Let's
Yeah.
go. Whole family. Right now. Let's see. And like, that's not even pop music, was not my dad's fucking thing. I give a fuck less normally. But Michael Jackson, everyone's tuned in. Probably tuned up on Blackberry Brandy or something, fucking waiting to watch the goddamn fucking Michael
Dude.
Jackson.
I gotta tell you. So obviously in preparation for this, I'm watching Michael music videos, and my sons are sitting there watching me. They're like, "What is this?" And I was like, "These are music videos. Let me tell you about this."
let me
I was like,
tell you about this
and
old
all the
idea.
people in there, I was like, this would be a whole event. Let me tell you. And I had to explain to them. They just sat like intently for these like 18, 20-minute music videos. Anyway, side rant. But yeah, this specific one, Moonwalker, it was like this to me in my mind as a kid, this mythical thing that for some reason, like it debuted in the evening, like the
It was on
announcer.
Showtime. That's why it was a premium channel. Like, which, and
Yeah,
Showtime's not even the one. Like,
yeah,
now,
that's what it
you
was.
had to be. Well, we'll get to that later too. But yeah, that's why. Like, I mean, that's, yeah, I
Dude,
no
it was,
word in 1980 whatever, 89 or something. Like,
yeah,
I'm not coming anywhere near
no
Showtime.
way. And it was like so like the announce was in an evening, and so I remember like watching it and being like, oh my gosh, this great thing is coming, but I can't watch it. Like I couldn't remember why at the time. I was just like, oh, we can't watch that sucks. But I just knew it was this amazing thing that existed with the King of Pop, of course. you know
Yeah, fucking wild.
so
Fucking wild. Yeah, I had never even heard of it, dude. I had no fucking clue that it existed.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is based on the Smooth Criminal segment of that. And with
Well,
Sega,
no, the Smooth Criminal segment is just one segment, and just the one stage is based on it.
yes, that was the original idea. The
Right.
original came from that.
Okay.
But it's kind of funny. Sega being the giant that they were in arcade space, like naturally the cabinet version came first, but the Genesis version we're talking about was nothing like that. And like this
Really?
one's, yeah, it
I
was
didn't know
nothing
that
like
either.
that.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
Not
this was much
surprising.
better. But the most notable thing though that I think that I found, Michael Jackson, MJ himself approached Sega about making the game. He wanted them to make a game that would capture his persona. Like, can you imagine being a Sega exec in the 80s on that call on your big Gordon Gecko phone
Well, it's
and
Al
like
Nilsson, dude.
MJ's on the phone?
It's it's part of why Al Nilsson is like a video game lore superhero, and why I need to fucking take Blake up on that fucking offer to connect us, because
Dude,
yeah, he's got a whole. It was a whole like relationship that he curated, and it's a whole fucking thing. So like he's got to have just stories that are fucking unreal about it. Yeah.
I mean, come on, like being able to, I mean, how do you do that? Like you're like Michael calls you like absolutely like what is he like? Like he dances, he's a superstar. Like to me, like knowing that as the setup and like going through the manual in this game, I'm like, yeah, it makes complete sense. Like that's the
Yeah,
like you
totally
watch
makes it.
MJ videos, like of
Yeah.
course, like he's gonna like what happens in bad? Like people are about to fight, MJ just walks up in there, dance magic, and that's what happens. Like they
Yeah.
all dance with him. Like
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's the game.
Yeah, I mean, remember, the fucking the one Sega newsletter where they, he came and did, like, he was there at Sega HQ and stuff. He's credited, a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, but he's credited as the fucking one of as the designer at the end of the credits,
That's
which,
awesome.
right, and like, I kind of look at that and think to myself, like, that's an agent, that's like a lead actor's agent getting an EP credit. It's like you're just getting it because you're because that's Tom Cruise, you know, like that you're the guy that is in Tom Cruise's entourage and you get EP credits, you know. That's kind of how I look at that. But I bet he was kind of fucking at least material involved. Like I bet he was sitting there like giving critiques to some degree and like an invested party in at least some of the design execution, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not entirely unwarranted, if only in like, no, that sucks, we're not doing that kind of stuff. You know, so yeah, fucking wild, man. Absolutely fucking wild.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because the arcade version is, like I said, it's pretty different. Like you can have multiple players, like you can have 3 players all dressed as Michael, you know,
at the same time on screen, or
at the same time on screen.
No, so it's like an X-Men beat 'em up.
It's like a straight beat 'em up. Like it's definitely a beat 'em up. The arcade.
Oh, that's crazy as fuck, dude. Oh god, it's so crazy. So interesting. This is if you have not already gleaned it, this is the most excited I've been for a fucking episode in so long. It's such interesting, and like he's one of those figures that like he's omnipresent as like there's just no one who doesn't have associated memories and nostalgia. Even if it's not. I mean, I remember I remember having like the beta tape and like listening to that shit as a kid. So it's not like I'm not saying like I wasn't into his music at all, but I wasn't fucking like hanging on fucking Michael Jackson music's every release or anything. I wasn't like fucking out buying his fucking tapes as soon as they dropped or anything. And it's not something my parents listened to with any like real fucking regularity. So, it was not something that was forced in my face, I guess, but it's still just he is just so entrenched in everyone's mind, even if you don't have that level of like pushing towards it, So it's so fucking interesting. And he's just obviously just like, so much interesting shit in his life. Fucking so interesting.
And I definitely was the fan. I had the jacket. I had a glove. are you kidding me?
Dude, it just like random fucking thing. It's I had the tape sitting on my fucking desk here, like Beverly Hills Cop. Like fucking one of the funniest scenes in that movie is just like a montage bit where he's walking down the street in Beverly Hills when he first gets there, and he walks past the 2 dudes in the Michael Jackson Thriller the matching Michael Jackson Thriller leather fucking outfits, and he just laughs his fucking ass off in that Eddie Murphy way. So like even there, like I'd never seen the Thriller video, I don't think, and like I somehow had it communicated.
You knew the association,
right? Exactly. I knew that was Michael Jackson shit. It was a Michael Jackson joke. And like it's just so permeated society. For 20, 30 years. He's just fucking unreal human being. And yeah, just so entertaining of a podcast research fucking flowchart. I had so much fun with this. Okay. Any more history?
No, that's it. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff.
Okay. Well, damn fucking well that I was gonna cook up an economic analysis for this because I was so excited. So, I was I was like literally racking my brain all week long trying to fucking think of something, and I was pretty distraught up until about 8:45 this morning, not having anything that I liked. And we recorded at 9, or supposed to. We were a little behind today, but I couldn't come up with anything I liked, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Bubbles. Like fucking bubbles. So, how much did it cost, Mike, to acquire and care for Bubbles the chimpanzee? Okay, so there are conflicting reports, but according to one in a smoothradio.com article, he paid $65K to score this chimpanzee in 1985, bro.
Whoa,
so
what?
And like, I'm Googling around current day, what it costs current day to acquire a chimpanzee. And I think that this sounds like it's just one report, but it sounds kind of right to me, based on what you would expect, I think, as far as the way Mike lived his life. So the numbers for present day acquisition seem to range between $50,000 and $60,000. So that's $2022, 50 and 60 grand, right?
Interesting.
To acquire from like a private breeder or like one of the sanctuary situations, an adoption kind of thing. Like that's about what you should expect to pay, right? So if you adjust that for inflation from 22 to 85, that's 171.7% inflation from 85 to 2022. So it would be in $85, 176 grand and 176 grand. Sorry, I'm fucking this up. 65K adjusted for inflation to 2022 would be 176 grand. So the idea that like a stock chimpanzee in 2022 would cost 50 to 60 grand, and the chimpanzee Mike would want being 176 grand makes total fucking sense to me. You know, he would want the elite chimp. He doesn't want no bullshit run of the mill chimp.
give me the smartest chimp.
Yeah, well, I want the fucking chimp that
they will eat bananas and peanut butter with me.
Yeah, it does like some crazy ass shit, right? So, and I'll get more into Bubbles' history later, of course. So, you know, this can be more explained. And I think that also informs what I'm suggesting here. But we're just talking numbers at this point. So chimphaven.org, which that's a great website name, quote, and this is just a sanctuary of some kind that who knows where they get them from, probably something fucked up, but they claim to be acting in the best interest of chimps and like trying to create a good life for them, whatever. But they quote their 2022 annual care costs to be around $17K per chimp at their facility. So that's food, that's medical care, that's life enrichment activities, toys, whatever. And if we spin that back to 1985 inflation, it's about $6,250 a year. So $6,250 a year. And again, like we just said, you know, goddamn well, Bubbles wasn't on no peasant chimp sanctuary cost of living though. You know that motherfucker. And we'll talk some of the like. I mean, there's some good specific citations I'll get into in the Bubbles history segment later, but. You know, he was on tour with Mike, so he wasn't, you know.
Bubbles, you want some filet?
Yeah, he was the fucking. He was not getting. What did I read in the thing? Monkey chow. He was not getting monkey chow. You know, he was getting fucking who knows what. You know. So yeah, I'm laughing.
Bubbles, you want some pate?
Right now, I'm laughing at the stories I know I'm going to tell later. And it's just, it's so emblematic of just how great this fucking IP is. I'm so glad we did this. But, so, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm going to double this number arbitrarily, the 6,250 to 12.5 grand a year. But like, that's got to be probably so conservative.
Still got to be low ball because it's
yeah, super low ball. Yeah. But whatever, that's the number we're going to use here for this. And like I said, it's conservative. So that comes out to, he had Bubbles from 85 to 2003. And that comes out to 237 grand without the annual increases in inflation calculated into it. So it would be more than that if we account each year accounted for the inflation number. But even without that, we're talking 400 grand that Mike spent on having a chimpanzee. Now let's talk about Moonwalker, the video game, guys. That is the boss theme. I'm bringing this into our playthrough of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker on the Sega Genesis. We start with the title screen, and it begins with the standard issue Sega load dropping in, and then it cuts to black, and then a Tanny Jenny cue plays as the title treatment synthesizes in. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. His name is in blue bar neon light style, and then Moonwalker is in some metallic space sci-fi style shit below that. And that bizarre ass vibe mashup is the perfect way to start this bananas ass game off for sure. And you press start, or rather it says press start in a neon blue below that. And then you cut to, if you do that, or actually no, you just let it play. And it cuts to it cuts to a screen full of a great deal of legalese, of course, as one would expect on some shit with Mike's IP in it. And then a stage start screen for 1-3 at Club 30 comes after that, as far as your first demo goes, with a headshot of Mike that eventually gives you a ooh voice sample, complete with mouth animation. And then, yes, the demo of the actual level fires up and plays for a while. And we don't get any bullshit silent demo shit for this game. They let the music shine right away with Smooth Criminal ripping in. And the next time through is a different level if you let it play. So time was spent on this. I think there's 3 of them that it'll go through. So if you hit start, you are presented with a 1-player, 2-player, or options menu selection screen. And I wouldn't have guessed this had a 2-player mode, and that's slick. We didn't try it, but I'm guessing.
I'm like, why didn't we do that? But it's probably turn-based.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm almost certain it is. There's, even though you're telling me about that and blowing my mind with the arcade version, there's just no way. There's no way you can this game. co-op.
We gotta find the arcade port. Gotta do it.
If someone writes in and goes, "No, you idiots are wrong. That has co-op," I'm just gonna quit the podcast.
Right, all the time we just focused on our stories.
Yeah. So the options screen is kind of interesting. It lets you choose between easy, normal, hard difficulty, and it lets you map your buttons as you see fit, which is fucking awesome. And I didn't change mine, but it's still cool to know that you can if you want to for whatever reason, as well as cycle through the music tracks if you want to just sit and listen to this fire 16-bit shit. And you can also samples Mike's various oohs, woos, and shahs while the music tracks continue to play. So you can start a music track and then move over to the voice samples and just spam them while the music plays. So, I never got off the demo music screen, Jay. Did you actually play the game, or did you just get stuck in a loop here like me?
Oh, that was great. No, I did play the game. But I thoroughly enjoy this, and yes.
Yeah. Fucking great, man. Just at every step of the way, it's fucking great. I left it at normal difficulty for my playthrough, just to state that up front. Did you do the same? Okay.
Same. That's my standard MO as well.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's just these easy, hard, like the only difference is just, the enemies take more hits, and that's fucking not fun. Yeah. So I don't feel like I missed out on anything by upping my fucking difficulty any, or not upping my difficulty any. So when you start the game, you are treated to a very quick cutscene of a car rocketing skyward past a residential neighborhood and into the night sky. And it cuts to a black screen from there where the outline of the front end of the car cruises in from screen right to the middle and morphs into Michael in his white smooth criminal suit, right? And then the text round 1-1, Club 30 comes in below that, and a music cue plays. And all 5 rounds have unique cues that will treat you to throughout this little retro gaming experience. So not only does each stage get its own music, each stage start screen gets its own music cue, just going the whole 9 yards for on the audio front with this game, as it should, as a Michael.
I mean, you have to. Like, if you don't, then you're wasted opportunity.
Mike ain't having that. Michael fucking send Bubbles into the office, fucking unaccompanied.
Take my name off of this game.
And just fucking wreck your fucking office with let Bubbles wreck the place. So we then move inside Club 30. The front door opens and Mike is in full silhouette in it for a dramatic, like in the doorway for a dramatic beat. Then he pirouettes into the bar, immediately flips a quarter with the appropriate chime sound cue across the full width of the screen and into a jukebox on the other side of it to fire up Smooth Criminal. The first legendary track of Mike's we'll hear in this game, and I thought we could take these opportunities to discuss each of the actual music videos for the songs we encounter along the way, right? And I mean, you already mentioned it, but I don't think I'd ever seen the Smooth Criminal music video, at least not in its entirety, particularly this exact version.
What are you telling me?
I didn't have TV, dude. I did not have MTV. I did not have MTV.
Then you were treated to this experience as an adult. Just like my sons were, and it's a whole, like, it's like a movie, like a little.
It's a 9.5-minute musical short film, and it is fucking lit, man.
Yeah,
lit. Absolutely fucking lit. Like, it's also exactly what these 3 stages are all about. 1930s gangsters in a nightclub, and all the shit is here. Like the bar entrance and coin flip into the jukebox, the little girl with a teddy bear, the baddies you fight can clearly be found in the video, the pool guy, like everything is fucking here.
The women in the bar,
They do everything fucking. They do a great job of
even the staircase that comes down. I noticed when I was watching the video, I was like, oh yeah, even the staircase where he comes down is like in the game.
Yeah, and it has the 45-degree lean dance move, which was, just Hollywood cable and harness gadgetry. But the wiki still assures a reader that it still, in quotations, requires good athletic core strength. I bet.
And that's the funny thing too, because like as a kid, that was just like, oh my gosh, like Michael can do Like, we know he's the world's greatest dancer, but like, how could he even do that? Like, he can defy gravity? Like,
Right,
what?
right,
You know?
right. Well, he would do that. Yeah, I want to say it was that video, the Super Bowl video, the 1992 one. He did it on the car or something, I think. And, that was a more impressive rendition of it, I think. Because, it's like just the way that video was done. It was him all solo, and this was kind of just, it looked like a dance number, that was a little more staged. But in any event, so in the video, there's a dance sequence with a fucking toddler dancing, and holy shit, is that kid impressive. So I'm, Googling around and fucking looking up who this is. This is Brandon Quinton Adams, who would go on to become a child actor big shot at the time via flicks like People Under the Stairs, The Mighty Ducks, and The Sandlot, right? So this kid was fucking, it's funny, dude, like, we're going to talk about more of these videos. Like, these videos were launch pads for motherfuckers. Like, there's another one later that, like, I shit my, don't say it. You probably know what I'm talking about.
You know it.
I almost shit my pants. I was like, is that, holy fuck. Like, absolutely blew my mind. It looks like this kid, Brandon, went on a 20-year hiatus starting around just before Y2K, but he is back at it again as an actor. His direct line phone number and Yahoo email ID are on IMDb Pro if you want to ping him about a project or anything. So let's get Brandon Quinton Adams some work, guys.
Got skills.
Yeah. So, it's great fucking video. Like, it's not a great video, great short film. And I guess they clearly a 9.5-minute one. Although, the Thriller one would play on MTV, I remember. I remember going over to my grandparents' house before I had cable and recording the entire Thriller. I was like watching MTV, recording videos on a VHS cassette so I could take them home and watch them. And nice. I remember getting the whole Thriller video at one point. So, they would play those full-length videos of Michael's. So they probably did play this some, but I saw it mentioned in the notes and stuff for this, the history for this, that they had like an abridged version that they would often play too, like a more natural song length one too. So fucking wild, absolutely fucking wild. And just one of the 5 that we're going to talk about, and there's just so much going on there. So let's talk controls and HUD of this video game a bit. The controls are a little floaty, I would say, but they are by no means bad. Yeah. He can attack standing, which is a kick, is his normal base attack. And then while jumping, which is, that we kind of talked about, that dance move where he snaps his wrist out ahead of him. And then he can also, while crouching, attack, which is a wrist snap out in front of him too. So his jump is standard issue. He has like a straight up iteration of it that has different animation than jumping to the left or right. And then you can open doors and check inside shit by hitting up in front of it, to which he does like this little twirl move and gestures towards it, kind of a showman esque reveal type thing. That is how you essentially search for the Katies throughout the game. And then Mike's base walk animation is pretty legendary, I would say. He's really turning those fucking shoulders, and you can't tell because the air is graphics, but he's almost certainly snapping his fingers on some kind of beat as he walks. He's just,
he ain't doing the normal walk.
Yeah, it's just so much flair to every move, every move animation of him. It's absolutely a dance, not just a walk, and it fucking should be. The HUD is at the bottom of the screen. It's just a black bar, and moving left to right, we have score, life count with a little Mike avatar next to it, your magic/life meter, and lastly, a Katie avatar with little teddy bear icons to the right of it that signify the number of them you have to find in this particular round. So pretty basic and straightforward, essential information down there. And yes, we are in round 1-1. This is at Club 30. And the manual description for this is, the mob's up all night, and you're up for a fight. Dazzle those criminals with smooth moves. And you have a 2-minute counter on your timer for this. And completing it in less than that earns you bonus points, but there's no penalty for going over. So that's kind of how the recommended thing with the time goes. And this is a 2-floor nightclub or bar. In addition to the aforementioned jukebox by the door, there's a host reception booth, there's pinball machines, there's a pool table, a piano, and just so many little attention to detail things, man. When Mike walks across the keys of the piano, you get little piano sounds, that's just a fucking awesome touch.
I love that, yeah.
So fucking good. And all the baddies are dressed in wise guy suits, fedoras. Most are melee, but a few of them have pistols in here. The dude by the pool table is wearing suspenders, and he like breaks a pool cue over his knee before he attacks you. It's just like, there's only one of those in this, and I think you do meet. They become a more frequently appearing grunt enemy, base or whatever common enemy in the latter bar stages here. But like when you first, because there's only one of them, it feels like almost a little mini boss kind of thing. It's just like it's a level of significance given to it that you don't normally get out of a grunt enemy in a video game. So really fucking cool. And there, are also a couple showgirls that will distract you from the task at hand. They step out from they're like up against a wall, real cool and sexy like. And then when you try to walk past them, they step out and push their hand up into your chest to stop you for a second. But Mike ain't got no time for that shit. He just kicks some stuff at them and tells them to kick rocks. So that's how and they don't die. The girls don't die. They go back to the wall. They don't, you're not actually hurting them. They're just stepping back. So they're careful to differentiate that.
So I took that as the girls were like, "Oh, Michael, you're here. Please save us." And I'm like, "I got this. Step aside. I'll be back."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if that, I'm surprised, I guess, given they bothered to pay any special attention to it, that they didn't have like some sort of different attack animation when you hit the button to get rid of them. You know what I mean? If they really want to go the whole 9 yards with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, they look like
it wasn't clear at first. I'm like, what's going on here? Am I fighting her? Nope. She's just standing there. Okay.
Right. And she's dressed in that exact outfit, kind of like the
flapper,
the death veil kind of deal, is what I would equate that to, like a funeral garb almost,
You think so? I was thinking like a flapper, like a 1920s, like just like a showgirl.
I don't know what a flapper is. Okay.
Well,
she has like that net over her face though. Isn't that like a?
No. That's what I'm saying. Like she looks like, to me, she's like 1920s, like just like in the video, like the little hair thing with just like the little flapper. I don't know. It's all part of the same thing. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
okay, yeah.
It's just something I know about, like the era back then.
I guess I'm not versed enough in that era. I thought
like a lounge. Like she's the type of girl you would see in the lounge with the wise guys in the 20s.
Sure. No, I'm not saying she looks out of place. It's just, to me, that is also a funeral thing. I guess funeral ones are a little less revealing. I guess they're more opaque. I'm thinking of the Beetlejuice. The Delia.
Beetlejuice
yeah. Which is obviously
that vibe at all.
Yeah, it's no. I'm not saying it's the same vibe. Sure, she's way sexier. It's way different. It's just kind of reminiscent of, in my mind. Anyways, there is a black cat hiding outside the window on the second floor, and it will pop your ass if you're not quick. That's probably the most dangerous enemy in the stage. You open the window, and it's just fucking right there, and then it jumps out. And your best bet is to just kick the little fucker right in the head as they drop out the window, like before they even hit the ground, because they jump immediately. And they also have chairs strewn around that you can kick and take the legs out from under dudes. So there's a few random like environmental objects that you can interact with to cause damage and do battle with. There's I don't know. There's just so much that demonstrates care and attention to detail. It's really, really great and immediately evident. You know what I mean? So you have to find. I didn't get the exact number, but I want to say 6 or 7 Katies in the stage, like and each one saying Michael when you touch them, and insert off-color joke here. It's the only one of those I'll give. And then they ride off screen on a little blue beam of light. And some of them are sitting out in plain sight. Some others are hidden in closets behind closed doors that you have to open up to find them. And throughout the game, there's, as it gets further in the game, it gets harder, so they become, sometimes they're hidden in a little bit weird of things, but for the most part, most of them are found in like 1 or 2 kind of commonly occurring environmental hiding spots, that you just have to check. So it's a little tricky at times, but for the most part, this stuff is pretty straightforward.
Keep checking things, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Like, is that a thing you can check? Check it.
Yeah. Right. Well, do you even know if it's a thing you can check? I don't know. Check it anyways. And that's kind of the difficulty one of the difficulties of the game, is that animation you do, it takes you out of being able to attack for a second. So you're juggling doing that between the environmental dangers, and that's part of the difficulty of this game for sure, is the need to check everywhere. Which is right. You're trying to find these hidden things. Yeah. So even that's well done too. What I would say control-wise that does suck really, really bad in this game is the steps. They're very difficult to line. Did you not have trouble with these? You're giving me a head cock like you don't know what I'm talking about. Did you not have trouble lining up with these when you want to climb them from the bottom?
On this first?
Throughout the game. It's a problem throughout the game for me. Or was.
Oh, no. I did not have that problem.
Really? Holy
I
shit.
did not have that problem.
I would often have to do... Like, I got Castlevania vibes with this shit. Like,
what?
Yeah, you would have to, like... I would have to walk back and forth at the bottom of the steps and, like, keep hitting up until you, like, catch it and start walking up.
I would just hit that angle, and I would go every time. Like, the only time I had a problem was on this first stage about trying to get the steps to go down, like the ones that go down. That I was like, how do I get this to go down? But like on every other time where steps are already available, I could go up and down with no problem.
I couldn't do it reliably at all, man. And yeah, and
interesting.
Yeah, they were tough for me. But yeah, there are also, there's a fire escape-esque stairway, and I could not figure out how to get it down, and it wasn't requisite to get to the upper floor in this particular case, so I just got on with my life. But that is what I ended up having to watch the demo to sort out later on.
Interesting.
I did not know how to do that at all. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So when you do get all the KDs, the screen goes black, except for Mike, and that's for a beat. And then Bubbles the Chimp rides in on one of those same blue light beams that the little girls ride off on, and then he lands on your shoulder, and then Mike exclaims, "Who's bad?" Any enemies that might be on the screen are gone, and when you come out of the blackout, and I wouldn't realize it till later, but your entire life meter gets replenished for that too, so you're kind of always most ready for the boss battle,
Final.
Yeah. So then Bubbles starts pointing you in the direction of where you can find the boss battle. He's on your shoulder, and he either points up if you're below or down if you're above it. So you have to go to another floor, and then left or right if you need to, whichever direction you need to go to find the thing. So in this case, he's pointing you to the piano on the lower level on the lower right? And I suppose now is appropriate, before we really get into the video game narrative any further, let us talk Bubbles the Chimp in his history, right? So Bubbles was born on April 30th, 1983 in Austin, Texas at a research facility. And I'm absolutely sure it was the one where the chimps were taught to fly in the 1987 film Project X, starring Matthew Broderick and Helen Hunt. And have you seen that movie?
That does not ring a bell.
Oh my God, dude. It's such a good movie, and absolutely
doesn't mean I haven't seen it, but it just doesn't sound familiar to me at all.
Dude, there's just, I mean, dude, there are chimps. Virgil is this chimp's name, and
sounds familiar.
He is the top. Seen it. He is the top supporting character. Like, he is a fucking movie star in this movie. This fucking monkey. So, which is not the first time that's happened. There's the orangutan in Every Which Way But Loose, and the other one that's almost the same name with Clint Eastwood, that are also hilarious, fantastic movies that you have to see if you've not seen them. They're so good, and those are comedies. So those are it's a way different vibe. Like, Project X is fucking, like, Project X, I don't know for sure. I didn't do a deep dive on the history of it, but Project X was probably initiated by a producer or some money or something that had the intent of, like, research chimp welfare, like trying to better research chimp welfare, because it's like a really, really good, I think, not that I'm hanging out at fucking chimpanzee research facilities, but it's a really, really good look at the downsides of that. And, it humanizes these fucking chimpanzees in a really good way. It's really fucking well done. I mean, it's Helen Hunt, who's fucking fantastic, and Matthew Broderick, also fantastic. Cast is great, even aside from the monkeys. It's really good. There's one that smokes. The one chimp that smokes the whole time, and he's like, "Oh, it's so good. It's such a good movie." But it is brutal too. It's definitely got a really heart-wrenching fucking part to it. So anyways, Mike would somehow get wind of this joint, this research facility, and get a hair up his ass for owning a chimp, and he would buy Bubbles in 1985 for the aforementioned $65,000, supposedly. That particular report suggested that he had come from this research facility and then got into the hands of a trainer, and the trainer was actually where he bought it from, but it's a little fuzzy as far as the exact whatever. But either way, he gets Bubbles in 1985. So Mike now has a chimp, and you bet your sweet ass he's going on tour with the chimp. There's a during the 1987 Bad World Tour, there's a photo of Bubbles and Jackson drinking tea with the mayor of Osaka, Japan, in Japan. Like the fucking it is the mayor, Michael, and Bubbles sitting at a little round table drinking tea. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here, Mike. Get the fuck out of here.
We're just discussing world peace.
With fucking Bubbles. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. He referred to him by his name. There was no mention of him being a chimp. Like, Bubbles was just a dude that he was hanging out with. Which it should be. If you're going to have a chimp, that's got to be how you handle it. But in Mike's case, it's funnier for whatever reason, Oh, it's just so good. So when not touring the world with the world's biggest pop star, Bubbles lived at home like any regular pet chimp. Initially, he lived in the Jackson family home in the Encino neighborhood of Los Angeles. And what a fucking intense pet dump off by your kid that would be. Like, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to work, so I'm just going to leave my chimpanzee here for 37 weeks or so. Okay, bye. Fuck, just stay at the family house with parents. That's crazy as fuck. And like, like I don't give a shit how well trained he was. Like I said, when I was reading around for information for the economic analysis, I'm like looking at like at chimp care websites, like how to care for a chimp websites, and like that there was one blurb I remember specifically that was so funny, dude. It was like in bold letters. It's like do not leave you have to have an enclosure for them. You cannot leave they cannot be trusted to be left in your actual home alone. You would just let your fucking chimp go with the expectation it's not going to just destroy everything. Like, how fucking stupid do you got to be? Oh God, it was so funny. I was dying looking at that. So good. But, this chimp Mike doesn't care. He breaks everything, let's buy it again, right? So this motherfucker did just live at both his parents' house, clearly not an enclosure there. And then eventually they would get fed up with that shit and he'd have to go home with Mike, and Bubbles would move to the Neverland Ranch up in Santa Barbara, which that's its own whole tangent we could get into if you wanted to. If you don't know what it is, I don't know, Google it. It's like a fucking compound he built with a zoo and all this shit. So
I'm like, naturally that makes sense where Bubbles would be. Like
the Neverland Ranch, especially the fact that it's called that name is insane. The Neverland Ranch? Who calls their house a fucking ranch? The only other ranch I know of that's famous is the Starwalker Ranch, and that's like a movie making facility. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck do you mean the Neverland Ranch? Like Neverland too. Like,
maybe
oh my
it was
God.
An actual ranch. I mean,
oh God, he had like the children's fucking amusement park and shit. And Macaulay Culkin's hanging out. There's just we're not gonna get into that part of this, but holy fuck. While at Mike's, it's known he would sleep in a baby crib in Mike's bedroom. He would use Mike's probably gold-plated toilet shitter. I also saw an account that he would eat candy while watching flicks in Mike's personal movie theater. Picture that. Picture that in your mind. I don't even know if Mike's there. In my mind, Mike's not there. He's just in a movie theater, a personal movie theater at Mike's house at the Neverland Ranch, eating fucking what? Red Vines? What's he eating? Starburst? What's he fucking eating?
Man, come on. It's like going home. He's watching E.T., eating Reese's Pieces.
Watching fucking movies. And like, think about that. Bubbles isn't putting the movie on himself. Bubbles has someone manning the projector. He's got a fucking person on payroll running a projector for Bubbles to eat candy and watch movies in the fucking Neverland Ranch movie theater. Whoa.
What a life.
What a fucking crazy as fuck. I read this thing about the shitter. I wanted so badly to find a picture of Bubbles on Michael's shitter. Unfortunately, not the case, but I'm sure it was funny. I did, however, find a Daily Mirror article about Bubbles being banned from a recording studio in West Hollywood for, and I quote, throwing poo. So this article has a quotation, an anecdote from Toto singer Steve Lukather. Do you know who Toto is, Jay?
Yeah. I've heard.
I don't know who
sounds familiar.
That is. So they're on record here with the following quote. He stopped bringing Bubbles sick, whatever, the chimp, maybe he said, because he tore apart the vocal booth and threw shit against the wall. That just ripped that fucking booth to shreds. They banned him from the studio, but Michael was cool, man. He was a pro. He'd sing his ass off. So Bubbles is just like, he's just fucking, I don't know, just gallivanting around fucking Hollywood, tearing shit up at his fucking leisure. And Mike, can you imagine, you'd guess Mike's not, I don't know, maybe Mike is in the booth for some of it. He breaks some shit and Mike's just kind of like, oh, you're not gonna go into the booth. Say you own the studio, right? And you're the technician. That's the thing. The owner's probably not even there. That could at least make this call and be the one responsible for it. You probably got some employee in a booth watching this happen. I'm gonna have to explain to my boss why I didn't stop this chimp from destroying the fucking thing. But it's Mike. You're not gonna walk in there and tell Mike
right?
shit.
I'm like, I say Mike.
I gotta tell him a fucking thing. So you gotta just sit there and watch this chimp destroy the fucking recording booth all day long. Oh god, there's so many good things, so many good things. Oh, I fucking love it. Okay, so by 2003, like I mentioned earlier, Bubbles has matured into a large and aggressive adult chimpanzee that is unsuitable as a pet, like so many captive chimpanzees or wild animals of any kind become, or wild animals in captivity become. And he was sent to a California animal trainer. They didn't say the same one, so I'm guessing it was a different one that he came from originally. And when the trainer closed his operation in 2004, Bubbles was moved to the Center for Great Apes, a sanctuary in Wauchula, Florida, where he has lived since 2005. So, clearly Mike's dead now. But even before that, Bubbles was off on his own, but living his own life. And chimps live a long time. Bubbles is still alive. Bubbles is 39. Bubbles outlived fucking Mike. So, well, not Mike. Sorry, Mike lived to 50 and some change, I think. But I'm just saying he's outlived him as far as whatever. And so he lives out his days as the dominant male in a 7-chimp family network where he paints in his spare time. And this is where this is where the photo behind me comes into play, Jay. This is a Bubbles original from 2011 here behind me.
That is just perfect.
Oh, in 2017, I found an article from 2017 where what is described as 5 abstract works painted by Bubbles were sold at an art gallery in Miami for a little over $5,000. And yeah, look what's behind me, Jay. Yeah, they're fucking abstract. They're fucking chimp playing with paint in a fucking, it's not a fucking painting. It is fucking paint that a chimp put on a canvas. It is not a painting. It's just a bunch of splotches, man.
That's like a Michael super fan with money. It's like, oh, I got Bubbles' original artwork. Nobody got this.
To be fair though, it is abstract nonsense artistically, but it's not the most abstract nonsense I've ever seen as far as something that can be hanging on someone's wall. So whatever, man. Art's open to interpretation.
Right.
This picture, if you're not watching the video version, this will be on our socials for sure. So don't worry about not seeing it. But holy fucking shit, dude. Bubbles the fucking chimp. That's all I got on Bubbles for now. Once you get the piano or get to the piano in Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, the video game, Bubbles bails off your shoulder, so he doesn't hang out for the boss battles. And then Mr. Big walks out from screen right and talks a little shit as he crosses his arms and settles into a hearty laughing animation. And then a big word bubble comes up that says, "Ha ha ha, you'll never catch me." And I can't believe they didn't give us a voice sample for this. It blows my mind that that's not a voice sample, but
he's so nondescript. They just wanted to use your imagination, like Mr. Big. He's a concept.
That's good. That's a good. You always got some good justifications, Jay. You're always good for fucking giving a little reprieve on the cynicism. It's nice. But it is at least a very fun, huge, and ornate text bubble. I'll give him that. And then he walks back off the screen before you can stomp his ass. He can hurt you though. If you go over and try to kick him, if you try to do the thing where you would normally do in a game like this, where you're like, I know I can't kill you, but I'm gonna come over and just kick the shit out of you until you fucking leave. No, you'll get hurt doing that. So again, just a unique thing that not every video game does, So that's kind of funny. And then a bunch of the fedora grunts start spilling onto the screen from both sides and swarming you up on the piano. And there's a shit ton of them, but you can easily fend them off with basic kicks. Like you don't have to get off the piano even. So it's pretty easy boss battle. I don't know. I assume you didn't have any trouble with this, right? Just
I had no trouble, but I didn't do that. All I did was dance magic them all. We did one big dance number, and they all died, and I moved on.
You know what? I can't believe I didn't do that more often for the bosses. I know why I didn't do it here, because I didn't realize yet that there was no carryover for your life from one stage to the next. So yeah, that's to be said. Like you only need to stay alive till you find Bubbles, or till Bubbles comes, and you get replenished. And then after you beat the boss, your life is fully replenished too, going to the next stage. So there's not, you don't have to worry about the economy of your HP. So that's obviously, like we mentioned during the instruction manual, that's the reason not to fucking overuse that shit. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't do that in some of those cases. God damn it.
Dude,
I didn't use it enough.
That was my strategy. Like, let me get to the bosses like with as much magic as I have, because if there's going to be a swarm of them, dance magic, full dance magic time.
I do that more often now. I hate myself. I hate that I'm so anal retentive and conservative with fucking. I hate it. I need to let loose, Jay.
You live and you learn, Josh. We all take different paths, different strategies.
This is episode 69 of this podcast. I've played a lot of video games now. I don't think I'm learning anything in this category, to be honest with you. Some things are just hardwired, Jay. You can't change them, So once you do frag them all, however you go about that, Katie runs in from screen right and starts running in place with her little yellow teddy bear dangling from her hand. And you have to walk up to her. Mike auto performs his little spin reveal dance move, and we're out on the level. And those are, we kind of touched on it when we were talking about the music video, but that is the exact little girl that's in the Smooth Criminal video. She's like looking through the eye slit in the door, and she's kind of what the whole thing's about. So that's, when I'm, you're first playing this, it's still weird that it's just her a million times over in the game. And you're just talking about, I'm sure, like development limitations and time and money, and then also storage cart shit. There's I'm sure that plays into it, but it's still weird as fuck that it's the same little girl over and over and over and again. And that it makes it only weirder to me that there is, when I found out, because I had played some of the game before I started watching those videos. So when I found out that it was a little girl with a real life or live action representation, it made it even weirder for me. You know what I mean? It upped the weirdness, that it wasn't just some abstract grouping of pixels, that this was representing an actual human being, even if only a fictitious one. It made it even weirder for me.
This would be a cool thing. I mean, it'll never happen now with Michael gone, but if this game was remastered and they just had a bunch of different kids,
Don't say that. Michael's estate is alive and well. I actually just saw, literally just the other day, because I've been Googling Michael shit constantly. So now Google is showing me Michael fucking Jackson news on repeat, basically. I just saw the other day that some songs that he supposedly recorded, or they sampled his music for 50 Cent tracks from 2004, their videos and the music were pulled off of YouTube and iTunes because of some licensing bullshit. And there is speculation that it's not even Mike, that they I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that means even. I didn't read the article. Fuck them. But I don't know, that they had an impersonator. I don't know. I have no idea what they're suggesting there, but Mike's estate is alive and well is what I'm saying. Mike's and alive and active, I should say. So that nothing is out of the question as far as monetizing Mike's likeness / music / IP / whatever. So you never know. Yeah. So then we move on to round 1-2. You're still at Club 30 again. And the interstitial between stages is you get a point tally screen that's just text. And then it counts the fucking remaining time down and tells you how you did against the whatever quoted estimated time you should have for the bonus. And then you get a stage start with that Mike headshot that woos at us. And then we're back into the next stage. So your life bar is, yes, completely refilled. This is where I would first figure that out. I wouldn't realize that it gets refilled on the Katie stuff until 4-1. So like I played over half the game, or exactly half the game, I guess, before I realized that. So yeah, again, I just, that's why I just didn't fucking, I thought it was more precious than it was, and I didn't embrace it like I should have.
I probably played a few levels before I realized the KD stuff, like, because the first few are so easy, it just kind of like I flew through without really thinking about it.
Right.
So it was probably like, I don't know, 2-3 or 3-1 before I was like, oh, the KD's actually replenished. Oh, okay. You know, when I kind of needed a little bit more, and I was like, I wish I had some full dance magic here.
Word. Not me. Otherwise, though, this level is same look, same enemy, same shit. You do start on a middle floor here where you can see stairwells going down, and there's even dudes like storming up the steps in waves from them. But I still I assumed that was like the previous level. Like I didn't think that I could go down when I first started this level. So yeah, so I went all the way up and then ran out of Katie's to find, checking what I thought was everything before I like backtracked and realized I could go downstairs and find the last few. And there are 6 Katie's here to find, so that probably means there's only 6. You never get like it going down, I don't think, in the game. So there's probably 6 in that first level as well. And they're all in closets in this case. And then when Bubbles comes out, he directs you to the top left corner of the level for the boss battle. And Mr. Big comes out. He does that exact same spiel again. And then 4 fedora dudes with guns and white suits come in from both right and left sides of the screen. And they're coupled up, 2 to each. And they will plant and shoot at you. So you have to duck those shots. And the dudes on the left will use the 2 pinball machines that are in this arena to muck up your ability and hit them. And I don't think we said that. Like you're always confined to a 1 screen width for these. So they are absolutely boss arenas. You can't move through the level and change your environment. So you always get, especially later on, like I would see it coming. I'm like, when I would be going through the stage, I would see some shitty part environmentally and be like, this is where the fucking boss battle is going to be. You know,
like, do I want to jump up on that platform now? It's probably a good place to be.
Well, I mean, even before, I'm saying before I would even be getting directed to it, though, like going through the first pass of the stage,
okay.
I would see like a shitty part, like the water area in the fucking forest or whatever, and be like, that's where the fucking boss. I could see it coming, because these, none of these levels are huge and sprawling really, and there would only be 1 or 2 like really fucked up parts to them that stood out, so it was even more easy, I think, to kind of identify that stuff in advance. But it doesn't matter, you get directed there, you can't change it, so it doesn't matter. But so yeah, so they'll plant and shoot, and then they take multiple hits to die too, maybe 4 or 5 each, so that's a complicating factor from the first stage boss battle situation, but still pretty cake, not really that hard. The pinball shit too, and that's honestly one of the harder. That would be, I would say that would remain the case throughout the game. That would be one of the harder complicating things, is just when they would put something where you couldn't drop down to duck level, basically, like some sort of elevated platform in a part of the arena where you're having to interact with the bad guys. So you would have to, because you a lot of them had ducking would kind of nerf what they could do to you. So if you couldn't duck at will and you had to like essentially hit another button to drop down to the next level to be able to duck, that would complicate these battles a little bit. So that's present here with the pinballs. You can't even, I don't think you can even drop below them. I think that you're forced to remain at that height.
This is all just sounds like foreign language to me. Like you're talking about battles here. There's no battle. We did a dance number and they were gone. Like I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Josh. Like
I hate that I didn't do that. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Round, who hurt me? I know who hurt me. Round 1-3, Club 30 is also more of the same. The stairway onboarding problem really got into my fucking nerves here. There's a lot of stairs, and I would just like backing up, inching forward, hitting up over and over, and even that wouldn't work. Like, I'd have to like reset and retry. I just couldn't believe how much fucking. How frustrating it was. And then you also get like, you'll be doing that and like you cleared this, like you obviously going to clear the fucking screen off before you start trying to do that if it's not working right away. And because you're just moving around a little bit, it would respawn the grunts sometimes too. So I'd have to stop mid attempt. And like, man. I had just so much trouble with it. I can't believe that it was just flawless for you the whole time. That's crazy to me. I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't believe you had troubles. That's surprising. I had more troubles like looking for Katie's on the stage because this This is the first level that I had to like go back and open windows because I didn't think that was like a place. So I was just kind of walking around like, what am I doing? Where's the Katie's at? You know? Until like a black cat jumped out and hit me. Then I was like, oh, the windows. Like I think it was an accident, like that I opened a window too.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And then in that case, the cat, and there's later ones too we'll get to, but you have that like, you know, you got to be on your toes when you're doing that. When you're checking those places, you got to be on your toes. Enemies can come out of them. These random things that are like environmental dangers come out of them. Like they're meant to be booby traps. So yeah, there's 7 Katie's here. You have to use one of those white fire escape stairwells here. So there's no way around it. So I couldn't figure out my fucking life how to do this. I had to Google it. So you also had so if you didn't watch the demo, like how did you?
So it's funny, like the first time I just somehow just did it easily, like whatever buttons I tried, no problem, you know, it came back. And so the next time I was up on top and I couldn't get, I was like, what is going on? I just kind of moved on and just kept doing other things through the level because, you know, I still had to find the Katie's. And so I think going back down, I ended up like hitting it with magic or something from underneath and it dropped. I was like, oh, there we go. Yeah. Now I can go back up.
Yeah, you need to stay on the table and just do the magic attack with the hold where you.
Yeah, but I thought I had found a way to do it and knock it down, and I was like, why am I not working? So
yeah, dude, I was jumping up and doing the hand thing, fucking hitting it, like bumping my head into it, and like.
But I spent like 7 seconds on it. I was like, forget it. It's not. This is clearly.
I spent longer than that. I mean, I don't know how long. I don't know. You know, probably 20, 30, which is too long to try to do some basic ass thing. You know, before having to fucking look it up. And yeah, I didn't go back to the demo. But I did remember seeing it in the demo, and that's why I Googled it. I was like, I know that if I, you know, can find it if I just look it up. So. Whatever the case, fucking you got to make that come down, and then you can go up there and find the last of them. And then Bubbles takes you to the top right of the stage, just past the host stand for the boss battle, and same Mr. Big bullshit again. Then a single white suit fedora dude with a gun acrobats out and demonstrates some fairly ridiculous hops. I would say his fucking hops are fucking like, you know, at least 2/3 of the way up the screen, if not more, 3/4. And he takes maybe somewhere between 6 and 10 hits, I would guess, to be toast. Very easy. Is he also dance move?
I did not dance magic him. I was hitting him. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'd be curious to know because the other ones, the first ones obviously are 1 hits. Those dudes with the guns, and 2 are just like 2 or 3, 4 hit lesser. But I'd be curious to know if the dance attack kills these dudes or not.
Yeah, I mean, he was jumping and shooting, so it was kind of just like, all right, let me meet you where you are and adapt. You know,
Yep.
That was my strategy.
So that's it for Club 30. We then move on to round 2-1, and this is the street environment. And the stage start screen here has Michael moonwalking out from screen right. So you get a different animation, too, for the beginning of each one of these on top of the different music cue. And all the way up to screen left before doing that twirl move where he pushes the back of his hat up with one hand and snaps his wrist out in front of him with the other, and then holds in place. And then that image tiles all the way back across the screen whence he came, and the stage name appears below that. And then cut to the front facade of Club 30 at night, the dark, empty street out in front of it. This was the image that was in the last segment behind me. And then the door opens on the bar, and Mike pirouettes out of it into the street, and then Beat It rips in. Beat It, bro. This is my favorite one for sure. We already discussed this, I think in the mag app, but this is my favorite song. It is so goddamn good. And it also means, yes, it's time to talk about the music video for it. And this is not nearly the production that Smooth Criminal was, but it's still cool as shit. And it's way before my cable time also. It premiered in 1983 on MTV. So I mean, I was 2, so it wouldn't have mattered if I did have cable. But it did feel a little more familiar to me anyway. So I mean, it had been around long enough where it just works its way into your fucking periphery even without cable. Like I just found some way to see it, where it did seem familiar to me. But the production for this one is really fucking cool. The production story. First of all, his label CBS, they refused to. So this is like 83. This is early Mike, and they refused to pay for the video. So how insane is that even? That like CBS.
What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? Right? Yeah. What were they fucking thinking?
What was your justification?
Right. Well, it's funny too. What ended up. I guess it was later, and he was probably making more money, and that's why it was not motivated by an actual initiative to do good things or be on Michael's fucking best interest or whatever. We'll talk about that, but it's just weird that they weren't willing to do this. So he financed the $150K production cost of this video out of pocket. So indie filmmaker Mike, the legend grows even fucking bigger, right? And it has this very gritty, low budget feel to it that I fucking love. Like it has like a very, very DIY vibe to it. And they shot this shit on location in Skid Row in LA. So they hired around 80 actual gang members, Bloods and Crips, like from the streets as BG for it. And it's just a testament. I mean, he's probably not out there himself fucking doing that, I imagine. But still, like the fact that, you're putting yourself into that environment is crazy. And it's also a testament to that he can put himself in that environment and it's okay. You know what I mean? Like he's that.
Like, all right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that no one that it's also just a different time that even gang members are less fucking not violent, of course, but less. I don't know, just less fucking something, less likely to do some crazy shit.
The gangs were originally formed for different reasons, so that's a whole nother
thing.
That's definitely a different time.
True enough.
Definitely a different time.
But I think it goes beyond just the gang dynamics and just the dynamics of society as a whole of the time. That you could put, if you put 80 non-gang members and just drop Mike in to that now. Or a Mike type figure, I think something bad would happen. So it doesn't have to be gang members, I think. So just very different time. But so the actual music video itself is fittingly about 2 gangs fighting, which Mike breaks up and gets them to dance together in the end. And it's it's got the whole they grip each other's wrists and they're fucking, it's just great, man. It's fucking really, really good. The song is fucking fantastic. Great.
And to this day, if you look it up on YouTube, it's got 836 million views. Just think about that for a video, for something that came out long before there were videos that you could look at online. 836 million. So I'll leave it there.
Yep, it's fucking great. It's fucking great. So there are and they it's got the diner thing. It's a really good.
There are documentaries about that video and different people from that video and characters that did the unique figure. There's just so much.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole other thing on itself.
Yeah, that lead dancer is he's one of the most renowned choreographers in history. Him and Mike choreographed. Jesus Christ, that's the word I'm looking for. Choreographed this thing together. There's just I mean, this one. It's earlier and grittier, so it doesn't have someone who became a famous actor from him or anything. But I mean, just anything that came from his shit just became huge. Became huge. Just being part of this, well, even fucking who knows? I mean, just being a dancer in one of these videos was probably a fucking golden ticket to any dance job you want the rest of your life. Great, really fucking cool. So stage 2-1, there are 6 Katies to find here. They're sitting in the street. They're in dumpsters, as well as behind more doors and windows. And how fucking crazy they're in dumpsters. That's crazy. You start to find the time bombs here, and the second building has a window that one will fall out of, and when you spin, reveal it. And these things are, in this case, not always, as you'll find later, but this one counts down from 3 real quick as fuck, and then blows up as bombs do. And it can. Yeah, it can even hurt you as it's falling out the window, which I think one, sucks, and two, honestly, was the bigger threat and the more frequent one that I got hurt by was fucking it just falling out of the fucking window, you know? So I think that kind of that's probably the most annoying like enemy or whatever in the game was those fucking things, I think.
Yeah.
The grunts here are wise-ass street kids hanging on the roofs of buildings, sitting on cars, leaning against lampposts as the usual cool guy poses, or in usual cool guy poses. And there's also, this is where the Dobermans are, and they will run out and then bark at you before attacking. And it's funny, like, I don't know why, when you kick them and like kill them, they fly off the screen like real far, it's weird.
Hey,
I don't know.
dance magic. Like he doesn't want to kill them. He just wants to like
right
push them away with magic.
I guess, yeah, and I can't remember offhand. I guess, yeah, do the guys like fall down and disappear? Can you, yeah, you can see them disappear, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. That just like with the women, like, you know, he's like making some level of video game effort to differentiate the way they get you rid of the world of them and the environment of them. So there are also a couple SWAT cop types with assault rifles and protective gear over by the dumpster. It's the first time you encounter those, and that will become a repetitious thing as the game progresses. But it takes forever to enact it, but eventually they will fire bursts of bullets you have to duck beneath. Like they take forever to actually fire. But
they do, yeah.
And you have to work your way all the way to the right at street level, then use the aforementioned dumpster to climb up onto the wall and work your way back to the left. And the last Katie is on the roof in the top left corner of the stage, and then Bubbles leads you back to the dumpster for your boss battle. And yeah, this is the first time that I actually thought to use the dance thing just to literally look at it. I mean, I don't know if I used it in the game the rest of the time other than just to make that video that I posted, because making the Dobermans dance is hilarious, of course, you know, so.
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to use it here. Like there's so many dudes that come out, like it seems. So it's like dudes just start spilling out. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dance.
I'm a psychopath. I still didn't do it in the boss, dude. Yeah, it's a swarm situation. It's stream like it's all four corners of the screen basically they stream in from. So you have like the wall thing for the upper level, and they come in on that, and then they come at ground level too. And yeah, I was just I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. I'm just like kicking each side of me, and then I'm jumping up and doing the hand attack to each side. I mean, it was kind of, that's part of it, is like they were always, until later on, pretty easy to deal with melee too, because like it, you know, they're always, unless they impose some sort of environmental thing like I talked about, like it's usually like in a central place, and they're just coming in from one of those 4 access points, and there's like, it's either just the jump to the left or right, or the ground attack left or right, you know. And sometimes you got to work in a duck to duck under some projectile shit that they'll do. Right. But yeah, I fucking did it with melee and whatever. They were all one-hitter quitters, so it wasn't particularly hard. But it probably was a lot more fun to do the dance attack. So that's that. You move on to 2-2, and you start at one of those old school cage elevators, which was a cool, nice touch. I liked that. And this elevator is in a parking garage. And there are 7 Katies. They're in car trunks, and it's really a disturbing game, man. Like car trunks, dumpsters, alone in dangerous streets, like fucked up places for little girls to be hanging out, you know, so weird. I trekked across the bottom floor and kind of looked around with a what the fuck moment before realizing that you could operate these elevators. I didn't realize that at first. So
yeah, I went all the way over to the right, and I was like, yeah, more Katies to find. Maybe that elevator actually works, you know. Like I assumed it was background until I went to the right and couldn't really do anything else.
Yeah. Well, even then, I still had to go all the way back and be like, oh, probably the elevator. And then, So, nice touch, though. And there are bombs everywhere on this level, fucking car bombs and trunks. And many of them only have a 1 count on them that blow up right there in the trunk, which is extra suck. And I actually think I like those more, though, because they, like the 3 count ones spring out of the trunk. Yeah, it's not just a fall. They spring out of the fucking trunk. So they're like, yeah, you think about it, you try to role play that in the parlance of jab, and fucking like, yeah, they're like spring loaded trunk bombs, you know, fucking crazy ass level of sabotage effort here by these street kids. And I noticed here that the wise ass grunts kind of do a Karate Kid crane kick pose right before they attack you, and I fucking love that. That's really fun. And you're, of course, working your way to the roof here of the parking garage, and there is a pretty slick nighttime sky or city skyline backdrop that awaits Bubbles is directing you to the middle of it for the boss battle. And this is a procession of the SWAT dickheads from both sides of the screen. And this is a situation where, yeah, the cars being present make it a little hard to jump around and stay beneath the gunfire bursts, the lay down. So there's a little bit of difficulty there that I'm sure you didn't encounter because you just did the dance move. Do the dance? Yeah, actually, since you use it enough, I didn't think of this, but does each enemy sprite have their own dance animation, or do the dance animations change? Do the songs change? Like what?
The songs changed. I don't know that I play like they all were pretty uniform. Like if you think of just a dance troupe, like yeah, the 4 dudes on the outside too, just like they pretty much do the same things, but like the people on the left are going to mirror the people on the right type of thing. Yeah.
Copy. Okay.
But I definitely still had not died yet to this point, so I was just chilling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I died yet either. I'm pretty sure, but I quickly discerned I could just duck in the middle of the screen and wait for them to trundle into duck attack range, and actually, I mean, to the point of how easy this is, I guess maybe to say one of the fuckers never did walk over and eventually just walked off the screen and the battle ended.
Really?
Like, yeah, the I didn't even kill the last one; I just walked away, which was I don't know, it's crazy to me, So yeah, I was starting to wonder whether these would ramp up at this point. I was thinking to myself, like, are these boss battles going to change and get more difficult? And like, I know I'm only on level 2, but still, like we're kind of talking a third of the way through the game here at this point, and like you're getting one at the end of every level, so it's not like only the second one we found or anything. So 5 of them in, I was kind of like, is this going to ramp up at all? Yep. Ask and ye shall receive. So then we move on to the third round of the streets thing, and there's a really cool design in this one. It's like half parking garage and half street, and there are manhole covers you can remove with your magic spin and then drop down into the sewer for a few KDs. There's 8 of those total in this level. And Bubbles takes you to a building with the car parked, rather to the buildings with the cars parked out front in the lower right. And the boss battle is a Doberman brigade with a lead dog you have to prioritize. Like he's the only one you can hurt. And he kind of just like calls out grunts continuously until you frag him. So yeah, this was easily a whole new level of boss battle for me. I don't know. Did you have trouble with this?
Yeah. On 2-3, I was like, yeah, still haven't died. ... And then I died because the dogs killed me.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I definitely died at them. It probably was my first. I can't remember for sure, but yeah, I mean that I definitely. Well, actually, yeah, it is the first time because I realized that when you die after a death against a boss, at least I don't know, I didn't die in the grunt area, I don't think at all. But you already you come back with Bubbles, and it's just taking you to the boss battle. You do start at the beginning, but it takes you directly to the boss battle, so you don't have to deal with the bullshit finding Katie's thing. So that's nice. That's a nice.
Which is good because I just came back and just hit him with the dance move after that because I was like, man, okay, all right, I died. It is possible to die. Okay,
And did that kill him in one thing, or did you have to battle with lower life after that?
No, I think that one still killed him in one thing. Like that it doesn't happen after this, but
okay,
yeah.
Okay, copy that. Well, I wish I'd have done that then because I died a second time too, and I had my trouble. Like I happened to just I was able to, I died those first couple of times, and I pick up on his first few moves, like the movement pattern, and I was able the third time through, I was able to like beat him to his spots, basically just from memory, and I handled it with I had like half a life bar left on that last time through, but easily the most difficult to date. That's like when I really first experienced also how interesting the reduction of your attack capability as your life drops becomes. Like, yeah, when you lose those magic stars in this battle, like, I mean, you're dead man walking once you don't have those. So the movement, they're too fast, and you're just not going to get close enough to them to be able to fucking hit them with just the bait. That's just the
when that would happen, it's immediately like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. So coming out of this, the cutscene is Mike turning into the car again, and you rocket back the other way, left to right, back over the neighborhood, that you came into here, which kind of, I don't know. I was surprised to be able to discern story from that cutscene. That just seemed the first time you see it, it's like a joke. It's like a reoccurring joke in the retro gaming community.
Oh, look at that! Like,
yeah, it just turns into a car, you ride, whatever. Yeah, it's just like meaningless visual, But yeah, it actually does have purpose. He's now leaving town and going to the woods to look for Mr. Big. So that gets us into round 3-1, the woods. And by woods, I think they mean cemetery because that's where you start. And oddly, Very surprising. It's not Thriller they go with for the music track here. It is Another Part of Me.
That was surprising too. Yeah, I'm like, interesting choice. Interesting.
Even though I had downloaded the whole music soundtrack for this and knew that Thriller wasn't in there, and I still, when I think I wrote down initially, like, and then of course we get Thriller, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't Thriller. You know, oh fuck, this is another song, and this is I don't know Another Part of Me well enough that I was able to immediately discern it as such. I had to fucking, I know this is you already said this is your favorite, but
yeah, I love Another Part of Me. You kidding me?
Okay.
So good. I didn't understand how it fit with the Graveyard. Maybe they thought that would be too scary with the combination. I don't know, but yeah. Or maybe he was just like, another Thriller came out in 1983. We need to push the new stuff. Put the new stuff in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny too. It's, to me, the least known of these tracks, and the video. It does have a video. It's another 1988 release, but it's just a live performance footage from a Wembley Stadium performance on July 22nd of '88, and that's, goes without saying, comparatively boring relative to the first two, like, really well done narrative deals. You know, it does open with a bunch of fan insanity behavior footage that makes me think like he was trying to say something with that, you know, like highlighting how absurd stardom and people's behavior towards it is, I think was the message of that. And the clips are absolutely batshit too. Like, it's kind of wild that they're just part of a music video, you know. There's like people injuring themselves and being carried away. They're behaving like fucking monsters, you know. It's people pretty wild.
Crying, looking like, one person looked like they were almost praying and crying. I was like, I know it's probably just the way it looks, but it looks like you're praying and crying to Michael.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Fucking wild, man. And you know, it's also just very interesting. I hadn't thought to do this in a very long time watching the video, but it's just interesting to watch that fucking guy perform. He had just an unreal stage presence, you know. Like, I just can't imagine. I mean, getting me to dance in any shape or form is basically impossible. It blows my mind that at one point we used to go to bars and clubs and shit and like dancing. I just can't believe I used to do that. It blows my mind. There's just no chance I would do that now. It's
Give me dancing right now. I was dancing watching these, like, getting up. Like, yes,
to me, it's such a pointless activity to me. It's just, I just can't rationalize.
Man, get off here, get off my lawn.
It is.
Josh.
It's just such it's so pointless. I just don't understand. I just don't get it. I literally don't understand why anyone. I get it as like in his, like, you're, you know, as like a well choreographed activity that is meant to tell a story or like, you know, I get it as an art form, but as just like a meaningless dumb activity for an idiot to be doing in a bar is crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy behavior. It's fucking insane.
Agree to disagree.
Especially the meatheady like intent we had, you know, like it's just so.
Oh well, yeah, that too. But as someone who enjoyed dancing, I would happily be the person dancing by myself. Like, I don't care. This is my song. I'm having fun. You gotta feel it. You gotta feel it, Josh. You just gotta feel the music, man.
Maybe that's true. Maybe I don't feel it. You might listen to Jimmy, but you can't hear him. Yeah, whatever. I can't ever get the clip. I can't ever get the thing right. It's the white man can't jump quote. But yeah. So he's I mean, his shit on stage is it's crazy. The fact that he's doing that in front of fucking, you know, 100,000 people is
like stadium. Like crazy.
It's fucking crazy. Such crazy shit. He's fucking wild. So the stage here is a lot of logical graveyard atmospheric stuff. There's gravestones, fog, ominous color palettes, zombies, so on and so forth. The Katies are behind gravestones in these cases, also in bushes, and in some rare cases, they're just sitting crying alone in the fucking cemetery. Cool. 7 or 8 of them in the stage. And the zombies are your grunts here. In addition to having pretty cool animation and movement styles, they dance when in place, you know, Thriller dance when in place, and that's fucking awesome. But they notably require 2 hits to frag instead of just 1, so the grunts are getting harder here. And you got to like get in that first one and then back up so their jump attack back at you falls short of you and you can get the second hit in. Otherwise, you're going to take a hit from pretty much every time. And they also have some annoying red birds in here. They're reminiscent of the cats in stage 1, and they're small, annoying, fast, difficult to target with Mike's clunky ass. And as much as I, mentioned earlier, like the controls are pretty good. It is, like, he's so tall, and it's just, it is like you're like a little gangly as far as the battle mechanics go. So I don't know if I'd say it's bad, but you do take damage at times where you're kind of like, fuck, I just couldn't fucking get his ass to fucking do what, like, in my mind I wanted to do. It's just not part of the movement set, So at times that would happen, and it would get highlighted here because of the enemies being a little harder. And you have to do a little light platforming here, or you can in this case. You don't have to yet.
Yeah.
Can here, and that's the first time we have that, and that's also not this game's strong suit, I would say. There's 2 routes to the right side of the stage, and there's an easier bridge on the high ground, or some like little platformings and what I assumed was water on the lower track. And I guess there's a little more shit to deal with on the bridge, and that's kind of the idea that it's like, more enemies, so you're incentivized to try the platforming, maybe, and that's kind of the idea there as far as game design goes. But the shit on the bridge is not imposing enough to not just go the bridge route. Yeah. I would discover during the boss battle, though, that there are just like you don't need to you don't need to use the platforms, basically. Like, it's not, the water's not dangerous, and there's also there's little squares that are slightly raised from the ground, even that, like, it's not really even, it's nothing. Like, what the fuck is up with that? I don't know. Design choice. Like, either put it there, or make it hard, or make it more, an imposition or an impediment, or not. Like, what's the point of doing that? I don't know.
I like that it wasn't like that. That the game progressively got harder, but like not in ways that you would think.
I guess. I mean, later on they do remove those, so maybe it's just an introduction to teach you that water, whatever. I don't know, but whatever. It's probably a little too incremental and unnecessary, in my opinion, too. Like I just the fact that I'm not dying in the water makes me happy as a retro game player. So, like, slowing me down a little bit, I'm whatever, man. I'm cool with that. Exactly. As long as you don't make it too much of a thing for the battling. So, speaking of boss battles, we are on to that. Bubbles wants you in the lower right corner of the screen, and it's just a zombie swarm from the usual 4 entry points. And this is probably fantastic to make fucking do the dance thing. I didn't do that. It requires 2 hits on these, so they're harder, of course. But the ones up top can't get down to where you're at. So they're not actually a threat. Like, they can't drop down, or at least they don't drop down. I don't know, maybe they can, but they don't. And the flip side of that, of course, is that you can't get to them either, and that's a little annoying. You have to keep jumping up and hope you catch the bottom of their feet as they're jungle gymming around up there, because they do that jump attack constantly. Like, once they get to near you or within range of you horizontally, so they're not always accessible as far as being on the ground to hit. So it's a little fucking annoying, but whatever. First time trouncing for sure. Yeah. Did you dance attack them?
Yep, not a problem.
Okay.
Next level, it becomes a problem.
Okay. So you're out of the graveyard and into a forest here, or woods, I guess. There are 8 Kadies to find. A lot of verticality of this gravestone bush hunt, and the most annoying part of it is getting hit from unseen zombies jumping up from you at you from below. So that's fucking annoying. And what I thought, at least, was one random shooting star you see at the on the bottom level heading right at the beginning, I would learn was not just that. But yeah, I saw that first, and I was like, what the fuck is that? I avoided it, how did you deal with that, seeing that the first time?
I didn't see a random shooting star on the bottom level, on this level.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Did you ever turn into a robot?
Not until 5-3.
Till the end. Okay.
So I didn't even. So I'm like, to me, it's not even a thing that happens. Like, it's funny watching replays. I'm like, wow, this happened over and over. And I think it happens if you have full energy and get another one, is what I'm picking up. But clearly that never happened to me until 5-3.
Yeah,
or,
no,
you know what I mean? I don't know how that happened. I just used enough magic along the way, just a little enough that, like, I just never. I don't know how that didn't happen.
This is the only time it happened to me. So I don't know if there's
really?
more. I don't know if they're Loric disciples. Please let us know if you know of more appearances of this, because and like here it's kind of it's useless. Like, you need it for that. Like, that's why they give it to you, because like that whole boss battle is designed around that mechanic, so that's why that's there. But here it's like arbitrary, and obviously you didn't even find it, so it's clearly not necessary. But yeah, like, you get it in the middle of a stage, and in this case, that's how it is right at the beginning. So yeah, I once I realized that this was significant and not just like something that was going to happen a bunch, and like maybe I want to try to catch it. Basically, I started just loading until I was able to figure out that I didn't know if I was catalyzing it. I didn't know what was causing it. I eventually realized it was just getting to a certain place along the bottom that it would happen at, So, and that was getting that Katie behind the gravestone on the ground floor is what would cause it to happen. So yeah, so I kept loading until I was able to catch it. And this is, yes, how you turn yourself into a robot. And it cuts to, as far as the flow chart of that, it cuts to the stage start headshot screen of Mike that you see before each stage. And this flashes a bunch of wild ass color schemes that could only exist in the late 80s, early 90s, like same thing, Trapper Keeper fucking slapstick bracelets kind of colors. And then Mike's face turns to steel, like these kind of, and it's not just like a
it's not a palette swap. It's like a full.
Yeah, it's like this like it reminds me a little bit of the mask that they make Vicky Vale wear, or not Vicky Vale, but the sidekick girl for Joker once he fucks her face up.
Yeah.
Like that.
Or think Bizarro from Superman comics if you read those. Okay. Very
a broken
blocky
up
type.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it ends on that, and then it cuts back to the gameplay where Mike has turned into a stone white, like a solid color, but still looks like Mike though. And then over a 3 or 4 frame animation from that, morphs into a massive steel robot. After which you reassume control of the sprite. And this thing can fly with the C button, and it's a clunky kind of like steel Iron Man-y kind of like he stays vertically upright, he doesn't change orientation to the ground or anything. But you can fly with that, and he shoots a bushel of homing missiles will come out of your head when you hit A. And I think this, just like the magic attack, does take your life, I think. So it's, you want to not just spam that, I guess. And then he also fires a laser beam from his eyes when you hit the B button that you can shoot straight ahead or at 45-degree angles. Up and down, so you have a little bit of control over that. And then I thought you were invincible, and this was a timed thing, but later on I don't think that, or that's not how the boss battle one goes. So I'm not, it's definitely not timed. You can keep that as long as you want to, as long as you don't get hit. So I'm not sure how it is here. I didn't know enough about it to like really fence test every aspect of it, but it felt to me timed here. So yeah, you can kill everything. Like, you're very dominating offensively, but these things respawn. Like, it's not like you can clear the level out with this.
Right.
And you can't pick up the Katies. It does. You can see them inside of their hiding spots. So you can see them, but you can't rescue them, which I guess narratively makes sense. He's a fucking big, scary robot. Like, I'll come back. Whatever. So, I guess it helps you in that you can locate all the Katies by flying around. But the fact that, like, you can't really gain any progress until this goes away and that the enemies come back make it feel
kind of meh.
Yeah, it's not really helpful. It's interesting, maybe I didn't and exciting.
Really miss anything.
No, you definitely didn't miss anything. Yeah. So yeah, it's just weird, man. Yeah, I mean, I felt it was like a 25, 30-second thing, and yeah, you try to kill a bunch of stuff, and that's fun, and you take stock of where the Katies are, but you gotta wait till you switch back into a regular old Mike to actually get any progress in the level. So yeah, it was fucking weird. I don't know. It was very weird implementation of that to me, especially because, I don't know, like what I think of is like fucking Dino Ricky, how the super power up for that turned you into the big thing, and like it was such a rare thing, and it wasn't actually better than the other attack.
Fire torches.
Yeah, so yeah, it gave me vibes of that when I was really kind of thinking about it. But the boss battle here is up top, and you get rushed from both sides by a bunch of standard issue zombies, and once you clear all of them, one walks out on each side of you that has a detachable upper body that will fly out and nail your ass. And yeah, this fucking battle sucked dick.
So many times here.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure how to continue. If you dance magic everyone, you still get these two. And like, they kept killing me before. I'm like, if I just focus on the top of you or the bottom of you, I keep getting hit. I keep dying before.
Yeah, I think both halves, like, I think while the torso top half of them is deployed out, flying around. I think both are invulnerable. Am I right in that?
Yeah,
okay.
They can't be hit at all.
Right. So you're just dodging that while that's happening. They do that shit a lot. It's not like that's a seldom occurring attack. They do that a lot, and it can be released at 2 heights. One you can duck under, and one you cannot. So you got to jump that one. So you can't, and like I said, Mike is not a pillar of dexterity. Like he is, quick reactions like that are not his strong suit, which is why platforming is also not the greatest in this. So yeah, very difficult to deal with. And I ended up, the way I beat it, I lucked into pinning them against one side of the screen together, so I could cheese them as they jump back onto the screen before they could get set and attack. Or I'm honestly not sure how I would have pulled it off. I mean, yeah, I don't know how many times I loaded, but it was a number. Yeah,
Same. It was so many times.
Did you get them onto the same side?
No. I ended up like,
oh man, good job.
Like I don't know how it was. Once I figured out like, okay, I can only hit them when they're freaking put together. Like no matter what happened, when one of them was fully put together, I was over there. Like I'm counting at this dude before he gets a chance to split off again. But obviously they're hitting, the other one's hitting you. So I don't know how I ended up getting out of it. I just kept trying over and over and found a way.
Okay.
But it wasn't it wasn't something significant though. I just kind of made it through, battle through it of attrition.
Word. That gets you into round 3-3, the last of the woods, and it's more spooky forest, 9 Katie's to find, and there's a pretty cool waterfall going down the middle of it, and you have to platform all around both sides of that, even in it a little. And then, yes, this is where you definitely learn that the water at the bottom slows you down, but does not kill you. Thank you for that, Sega Game Gods. Those goddamn birds are everywhere here in this level. That fucking sucks, especially on that right-hand side. They're everywhere. Not fun to deal with. And Bubbles takes you to the bottom of the waterfall for the boss battle, so they want that impeded movement the water imposes to be a factor here for sure in the design. And it's just 2 zombies for the boss battle, but they are 2 of the disembodied torso fucks, of course. And they throw down some kind of rain projectile as they fly over you and back, like body parts or blood or something, So, I mean, cool, like stepping up of their whatever mechanic, but not fun. I was able to, this one was easier for me, at least as far as how much of time I did dedicate for it, though, because you can pin them against the riverbank, like the inside of the river, basically, and just stun lock them to death right there. Yeah. So I was able,
That's what I did too. The repeated kicks, like
yeah, exactly, yeah, like super happy to fucking log into this. Yeah, I was able to take him out the very first time because of that. Like the smallest sliver of life left, but it was the first battle. Nice. Yeah, actually, like in my battle, like I accidentally stun locked the second one too close into him. So like the first one was dead, I think, and then I got the second one over there, and I stun locked them, but Mike, my sprite, was too close into him. So I was taking damage from him even as I was hitting him, and I was so like noited about losing the stun that I was in a frantic moment of like decision making of whether I wanted to risk backing up or just try to ride it out and hope you ran out of life before I did. Because you don't know, you don't know how many times they don't have a meter or anything, So yeah, I ended up like deciding last second to inch back up and finishing him without losing the stun. I didn't lose the stun, thankfully, but yeah, it was probably the most. Because even the dog was kind of like, I still had half a meter, like, and I was figuring it out. Like, this was probably the hairiest battle in the game for me, I would say, with the exception of one that we'll discuss.
I'm surprised about that because the battle on 3-2 was harder, and then some of the other ones were harder. But this one was kind of like, I feel like I beat it on the second try or something. Once I got the stun thing, it was like, oh, we're good there.
Yeah, no, it just again, just personal experience feels the most fucking significant. Of course, your life feels important. So just the way it went down for me was the most high drama. I'm by no means saying that it was harder because that stun lock thing was obviously a little bit of a cheese. Not all bosses had cheeses. Most of them had cheeses, but not all of them. So. After these messages,
we'll be right back.
Magical, mystical, musical, Michael. The undisputed new king of pop and rock, megastar Michael Jackson, is about to take you on a journey beyond your imagination. You won't see it on HBO or Cinemax. Moonwalker.
You've been hit by smooth criminal.
Exclusively on Showtime. Saturday.
That is a 1988 TV commercial for Moonwalker's premiere on Showtime, the premium movie channel. So, yes, this is an anthology music film I didn't know existed. And exactly apparently the game is. We didn't actually cover that. So, like, you know, just in general, this made me realize, like, the further I got into this game and accompanying research, the more I began to think there's nothing weird about this game everyone calls weird at all. It's simply a brilliant video game representation of a brilliant and huge piece of art. Like, the film segments are connected by an underlying but overall narrative meant to represent the different stages in Jackson's career and were based on his own view of how his fans idolized him, rather than, you know, instead of listening to the messages he was like trying to fucking say with his music, right? So like that's what Moonwalker was. It was meant to be like kind of a correction of how he was being, in his own view, artistically understood. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, yeah, the Smooth Criminal video we discussed earlier is one of the segments in the film. It's like, you know, multiple of them are like huge segments of the film, and then yeah, there's interstitials, like it's, you know, whatever, 90, I can't remember the exact runtime on it, but yeah, like a full feature film with all these vignettes that all make sense together, you know. Wild, fucking just wild. Absolutely fucking wild. And yeah, all on Showtime, so not something I caught as a kid. So we're moving now into round 4-1, the Cavern, and Billie Jean will carry us into the caverns. Explain this music video to me, bro. I do not understand what the narrative is.
Can I explain it? No, I can't explain it. I
mean, so he starts things off by flipping a quarter in that sleeping bum's cup in an alley, which turns the bum into a dapper dude in a white suit and wakes him up. So we don't see this dude again until the very end. He's walking out of the alley with a woman on his arm. So I don't know. One, it's to be noted that it's like, you know, these things become pop culture, I don't know, mainstays, I guess. You don't even realize it happens. So like that quarter flipping thing with that little sound, that became a thing. Like that, Mike turned that into a thing. Like there's that Pepsi commercial or Coke, I think it's Pepsi, that was like a Super Bowl commercial or something where like they flip it into the machine and like, I can't remember even what happens, but like that is like, when I saw that, I was like, that was that came from these? Holy shit. You know, like, so it's in, yeah. He has the exact thing in multiple of his videos, and it's like, yeah, he like flips a quarter and it does some amazing thing and has that exact same ping sound effect, you know, like just wild. Like, I don't know, just again, just the pop culture permeation that he fucking had was just unfucking real. So yeah, so this quarter that he flips into this dude's cup turns him into, I don't know, makes his life better, gets him fucking, turns him into a, you know, a rich dude with a beautiful woman on his arm at the end. And I guess maybe that's the extent of what that means. I don't know. I'm not sure what that, I'm not sure how to interpret that part of it. But the rest of the video is seemingly a private eye trying to catch Mike in some shit, but he keeps disappearing just as he's about to get to him. And that's what I interpreted it as anyways. The song is about Billie Jean not being his lover, and the video seems to allude to this PI trying to catch Mike slipping in that regard, but I was not entirely sure. So what is your best what was your best interpretation of the video?
I mean, I don't know. See, I feel like you can't really ask me that because like growing up, I've just kind of always had this weird, like, what is this video really about? And so to me, it's just been this thing where he's like, is he the lover? Like, I don't know. Like he's some kind of, like he's being investigated, you know, like somebody's like checking on him to see like, are you the scoundrel? Like, did you do this? I don't know. Like it's
yeah. I mean, you know, it's you know, what you're describing, I think, is kind of what I was trying to say about Final Fantasy throughout the whole side quest. How, you know, that's not the only instance, but it's the one I'm thinking of. But, you know, like that, I had that strategy guide, and like I looked at that strategy guide a million times. But like a kid looking at something and an adult looking at something, two completely different things. And you allow yourself once you've established this, like, the way you do it for 30 years, even though that way of doing it was created when you were a kid and ill-informed and improperly thought out, you still just let it become a pattern movement, even if you're just talking about the movement of a recall, and that's how you perceive it, you know. But if you actually stop and like look at it from a blank slate, the way an adult should assess and try to interpret something, you get something like, holy shit, I've went a whole lifetime not actually looking at this. Holy fuck. You know, and yeah, I can totally buy that as an answer. But yeah, I didn't have that. So I was looking at it from a clean slate from the beginning, and that is how I interpreted it. And even that wasn't right. So like, I start doing the research. So this video was debuted on March 10th, 1983. It's Mike's very first on the network on MTV. And it was like a whole fucking thing that happened, basically. So MTV initially refused to air the video. The network's executives felt black music did not fit into their rock-centered network. So Walter Yetnikoff, the president of Jackson's record company, CBS Records, this is what I was alluding to earlier, that it was weird to me that CBS, like, by not paying for that video, is kind of demonstrating not being in his corner. I don't know. It's a little, that's why it's a little conflicting to me. But I can easily get to a terrible answer for that, or terrible reason of just, you know, companies are just doing the thing that's in the best interest of their bottom line. And that's why he did this here. It was a marketing stunt probably. But basically, Walter Yetnikoff, the president of Jackson's CBS Records, was enraged by the refusal to play the video in spite of Jackson's success as a musical artist. So Yetnikoff, but he won't pay for the video. Like, how hilarious is that? Like, yeah, so successful, but we're not going to pay for that video. Yeah, okay, dude. So anyways, Yetnikoff threatened to go public with MTV's stance on racial discrimination. His exact quote, this is Yetnikoff's exact quote. I said to MTV, I'm pulling everything we have off the air, all our product. I'm not going to give you any more videos, and I'm not going to go public and fucking tell them, and I'm going to go public and fucking tell them about the fact you won't play music by a black guy. And as you might imagine, MTV was like, okay. Like, yeah, we'll maybe you're right. maybe that's bad for us. Maybe we'll listen. Okay. You know, so even in the Stone Ages of 1983, MTV said, you have a point. And they relented and played the video. And it was like, you know, a fucking nighttime premiere, and was like the biggest thing that ever happened to the network, and like changed the way videos were played, yada, yada, yada. Like, you know, revolutionized what music videos would be, even in MTV in its early infancy, you know. So pretty interesting origin story, I guess, for the video. And Michael, then the wiki, what's that?
That took Michael to do it.
Yeah, fucking dude, he's just fucking, like I said, it's unreal. And like, again, like, I wrote all this without thinking about that indie filmmaking thing, like the fact that, you know, $150K is what he spent. Sure, if CBS would have done it, it would have been more than that. I imagine. I get that, but like, still, you know, like, I don't know, just there's just so much interesting shit about him, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy how fucking nuanced. And part of it is, yeah, every fucking, you know, and any musician of that time probably has crazy ass stories like this. It was just he was such a thing that they became public in some way, shape, or form. And we have these like really intimate.
And it's surprising to see that, like, you had to do with that. Like, you were a star when you were like 6. Like, they discovered you. Like, how did you have to deal with anything?
Yeah, your whole like, your whole family is a fucking walking, talking platinum record. Like, how the fuck did you have to? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Crazy. So anyways, this story is not about a PI. The PI is actually a paparazzi. Mike is simply avoiding the paparazzi throughout the video. That's the whole, that's the dynamic. And the cops taking him away at the end is just because he's spying on Mike. It's like super, you know, I don't know, like we're like trying to slice it up in this, like, oh, like, what the fuck do you know? And it's like a super, I think it's easily his most surface level video. You know what I mean? With the exception of maybe that, yeah, even like I said, I was able to discern a message even in that concert video for another part of me. But this is just, it's very straightforward. It's like, I'm a superstar and I got to deal with dumb shit. You know, you know what I mean?
She thinks I'm the father. I'm not the father. That's what it is.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
like,
Right,
people
yeah,
taking
so
pictures of me, like
yeah, exactly. So it's just funny to me, like the one that I don't know, that I spent the most time trying to dissect basically was the one that, by his own admission, had the least to say. So,
but like if you're 9 or 10, like you're not thinking about like, oh, they think he's the father. Like, no, you're not thinking about that. Like, what is that? That looks like Inspector Gadget, spy coat. Like, who's that guy? You know, like,
Inspector Gadget. Yeah, that's worth noting that the paparazzi.
Spy versus spy.
That's why I thought exactly. That's why I thought he was a fucking some sort of like something that was like I don't know what the not law enforcement, but like something in that realm, you know, like some sort of trained something because he looks like Inspector Gadget. Fucking Inspector Gadget.
I can't even. I just go Gadget arms. That's all I'm thinking about now.
Exactly. Like, I feel like he has like there's like a thing stuck in his whatever. Inspector Gadget. I don't remember it well enough to think of what I'm trying to say, but it's fucking funny.
A little card in the hat.
Which I don't think maybe that's not Inspector Gadget. Maybe that's like fucking Alice in Wonderland or something. I don't know, but whatever. So Moonwalker, the video game, caverns, right? So 80 Katies here, or 88 of them in the first phase of the cavern. And this is a very well-lit cavern with a very serious arachnid problem. There are huge spider webs everywhere with spiders to populate them, of course. There's a few huge webs that will impede your movement speed when you're walking behind/through them. And there's a cool-looking natural spring coming out of the cave wall in the lower right of it. And it reminded me of how great water often looks in the Genesis. Like, it's really
very flickery and stuff. You're like,
yep. It there's another early game that I don't think it's not quite out yet, but we will talk about it for sure when it is. Spider-Man. And there's like the water in that is cool. You can like there's the first stage is Sandman or against Sandman, and that's how you beat him. The boss battle is by opening up a fire hydrant in the water, hitting them and stuff, you know. So, and there's also sewers you go through for the lizard, or what's the chameleon? What's the Spider-Man lizard?
King
Mr.
Lizard?
Something like that.
I don't even remember now. Golly.
Yeah. Some sort of lizard, though. The scientist that becomes the lizard, his level is in the sewers, so you get some water down there. And I just, for some reason, that I don't know. I prior to playing this, I did not think to myself like Spider-Man is a fucking, you know, like a groundbreaking demonstration of water animation. But like for some reason, I kept thinking of that when I was looking at this. So it must have had some impression on me as a child.
Well, it's funny though, because this water actually, I wasn't sure about it looking at it, because the way that it's so bright, it's kind of like, am I gonna like die if I step in that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is something gonna happen? Is it gonna rush me down?
That's not the
know.
animation. That's that's water being a fucking hazard in every video game ever.
In every game.
Yeah.
But I mean, also because it's so like flashy and bright. Like I was kind of like, this is unique. Like
a colorful amphibian, you know, to stay away from it.
Like I'm very cautious here.
Yeah. They introduce a completely new logistics mechanic here with the cobweb cluttered caves you can enter that you take, like they take you to completely different areas as opposed to, you know, previously we just like open a bush or open a door or whatever, and that's where the caves are. In this case, you go into these caves and it's a single screen green cave, and inside those they have zombies, SWAT fucks, which is weird as fuck.
Right?
It's like the SWAT fucks down here at all is weird, but whatever. It's a fucking video game. So those are in here, and then there's also Katie's to be found in there, and there's some environmental. Sometimes you get environmental stuff too. They have the pointed rock shards that fall from the ceilings at these, and are they stalagmites or stalactites?
Don't they have both on this, or just the mites? I think they have just the mites here.
Nope, tights fall from the ceiling. Jay,
what'd you say?
Tights fall from the ceiling. I have to Google it every time too, dude.
I'm like, I love stalactites, but I feel like it's the one that I like saying stalactites, but I feel like it's the other one. So I
like stalagmite is a more fun word to me. Stalagmite. Yeah, that's hilarious though. Long run. If you're new to the pod, that's a long running pod gag there.
Every time, especially when we're in caves, man. This is where things get freaking nuts from a level perspective. Like this is where I found myself just going back and forth, like, wait, what did I miss? Oh, I didn't blast that spider thing open. Oh, I gotta go back here. Like,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
where it really
Yep. No,
it took me a while to get the hang of it.
these levels are sprawling by relatively speaking, and yeah, the going into the cave thing is a serious attrition problem. Like, yeah, I first came into these with a mind to clear them out, you know, because enemies are not that hard in this game. So like, whenever you see an enemy, kill it, right? In this case, I quickly learned that yeah, they were attrition bait is all they were, and I would just pop in and immediately
Scan the environment.
Yeah. The caves are not hidden, thankfully, in there. They're just out in the open, sitting in these cave fucking offshoots. Another weird place for Katie's to be. But yeah, Mr. Biggs, yeah. For wanting to turn them into slaves, he is not at all concerned about their long-term welfare. He is just putting them wherever.
Like they'll live. They're kids. They'll live.
Yeah, exactly. They're malleable. They'll fucking make it. Don't worry about it. So yeah, I would go in, yeah, quickly scan, and if they're not there, just get the fuck back out the door with as little enemy interaction as possible, for sure.
Yeah.
And so in here, you also get some weird shit. And the woods didn't have any of it. What was stage 2? The streets didn't. Yeah, okay. So this is the first time you're kind of seeing this. So yeah, so they got these weird insignias on the walls. There's spider insignias, and it took me a while, but I would eventually learn that you can do your spin thing on these to break them open and reveal more caves. So, you know, not immediately apparent, but I did figure it out. And then near the spring, there's a different insignia on the wall. And it appears to me to be Mike's shoes mid-dance beneath a circle with a line through it, which means no dancing to me. And that's fun, but I don't understand what it means. Like, again, not trying, I don't know why I didn't, but can you not do the special dance attack near them? Did you think to try that, or?
I didn't really pay close attention to what that was, but like to me, it's almost like somebody saying no dancing, and he's like, nah.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
I dance where I want.
you know who I am. I bring the dance magic, you know.
Yeah. I even wrote down here, I wasn't going to waste life checking, like still being like ultra conservative, even though
what
I don't think maybe I'd learned. Yeah, I think I learned. This is where I said 4-1. Yeah. So I had learned that fucking. Well, I guess no, I would learn to the end of the stage. So I didn't know that getting the Katie's replenished me. So maybe, you know, I can hide behind that excuse, but yeah, whatever.
Wow.
So yeah, it does not have a cave behind it either. So I would do the little thing or I thought I did the little thing anyways, and that there was nothing behind it or nothing happened, you know? So like, that was weird to me. So I was like, what the fuck is this thing? You know, and just moved down with my life, but kind of like the stairs, you know, that would later change by necessity. So the fun thing here with Bubbles, when you get the last Katie inside one of those green caves, Bubbles still comes in, but you're not out in the area where the boss battle is going to be. So he's just dumbfounded. He just sits there, no point on your shoulder, doesn't do anything, you know? So I thought that was me, that he was idle and he didn't have any reaction to being in these caves when he comes in. But you go back out to the main area and he resumes his GPS duties and he takes you to a middle large web for a SWAT fuckhead swarm boss battle. And I died once, but there's so many that it is a pain in the ass. You can't use the left side of the screen because of that web, you know. So it's just fucking, you know, like an attrition situation. It's still just your usual shit. So I dusted off the second time. Did you dance?
I had no problems here. I mean, I beat it on the first try. Just did the dance, and then they're still alive afterwards, just fighting, spamming left and right.
Yep. That's, you know, if you want to get into criticism, the boss battle stuff is a lot of ho-hum with the boss battles. And I know we have them at the end of every round. And if you had some big epic, unique boss battle design for every one of these, 15 stages, it would have been probably a lot from a design standpoint, but yeah, they get a little monotonous at times and a little nondescript. So moving to 4.
Definitely becomes like a war of attrition, like you said. After a while, it's like, all right, I gotta make it through. Let me get the Katie's, not die along the way, pretty much.
Yep. Just fucking survive, as opposed to like defeat a boss, and that's a different vibe for sure. You know.
I mean, and that's what would happen. I mean, I would die, you know, oftentimes on the way to the boss, just stupid stuff, trying stuff, and like because I'm trying magic, you know, just to play around because it's a game. And so if I get hit and do something stupid, then I die, and it's like, okay, you know. Yeah. So I actually think they balance that kind of well, but yeah, there could have been a little more variation.
Yeah. So we have 9 Katie's here in 4-2, and same cave vibes. It's really sprawling. This is easily the biggest level in the game, I think, and it's a massive pain in the ass with all the little spiders and shit as far as the attrition stuff goes. So I had to search forever to find that last Katie, which for me was behind one of those no dancing signs that I had to chance into magic. I thought they didn't do anything, so I didn't try that, and I just chanced into accidentally. This did not accidentally happen all the time. Like, that was very just beyond a stroke of luck to have happened to me to happen to try that in front of it, or have that happen in front of it, and it opened up. So
really?
That's how I found the last one.
So you got the waterfall? For me, the waterfall was the last one.
I did.
I was like on a hunch. I was like, I don't know where else to go. I've got because I learned on the last one, like, yeah, I'm breaking everything. So by that time I was like, where do I go? Is the water? Like, I didn't know what else to do.
No, yeah, for whatever reason, I had seen enough. There was something in the forest. I can't recall, but I had it in my mind, like, I am going to try everything now. And when I saw that water, I was like, oh yeah, trying that. And my first pass down there, I got that one for sure. That's funny. We had that different experience. So the boss battle is a zombie spider swarm, and I lucked into a great cheese spot on the rightmost edge of that little platform to the left, and most of the zombie lunge attacks would just run right into my crouching attack magic spams from there. So I had really easy, quick work of this one. Same, I assume.
Yeah, I had no problems. I beat it on the first try. I was pretty proud of myself there.
So then we have 4-3. There are 10 Katies in this one, most Katies ever. And the straightforward here, rather straightforward design here, except they hide one Katie in the spring on the lower right, and I canvassed the whole level before that occurred. Wait, hold on. Was there? Yeah, I think you're thinking of that one.
What's that?
You're right. I was thinking the spring one is this one.
4-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought we were in 4-2 before.
Oh.
No, there's a lot of difference. But yes, so yeah, I'm wrong. I'm misremembering because it says here that I canvassed the whole level before remembering that was the case. So yeah, in my mind I found it, but I guess not.
Oh.
Okay. So anyways, that's what happens when you have a game that's a lot of repetition. And I'll just kind of like try to podcast about it. Yeah, just fucking like, nope, you're just making up memories in your head. Boss battle is the same as the last, but they drizzle in a bunch of SWAT pricks here too. And it's frenzied, but at least no spiderweb bullshit to deal with. So you have a full screen mobility that's kind of nice. And I hit out of the platform to the right to shield me from the zombies raining down onto my melon, and just knock this one out first time. So pretty harder levels, but easier boss battles here with the cavern, I would say.
I kind of like that it give you that little variation, because I felt like the bosses in like the 3s were like kind of tough. So
2 and 3, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
Reversed it a bit.
Yep. And then round 5-1 is the enemy hideout. And yes, that's such a great, I don't know, that's such a, somehow that is 80s to me. Enemy hideout is an 80s thing, even though it's just 3 words.
Well, enemies got to have hideouts, man. They don't have HQs because that's public. Like, headquarters are public, so you got to have a hideout.
Right. Yeah. Especially like a gang too. It has to be a hideout. Yeah. The track that scores the home stretch here is Bad. And the official video is 18 fucking minutes long. It starts at a shithead private prep school. Duxton is the fictional name that is getting out of session. And just the worst of the worst rich white kids are all ecstatic about this. They're and like it's a prep school. It's not a college, even though at first I wasn't sure. It is a prep school. So, they're supposed to, they look like they're 25, but
right.
But they're supposed to be 17, maybe 18. So they're still kids, but their behavior is just fucking gross. They're like jumping around and like fucking, you know, it's not happening, but it should be happening. They should be riding the banister down the fucking stairwell, you know? You know, they're just like, it's just, you know, like really over the top, school's out shit. At least I think they're all white. Actually, you can't tell. This part is in like a blue-hued monochrome that kind of makes it difficult to tell, but none of them are darker than Mike, for sure.
There was one Asian, maybe in like the first 3, I think, slipped out of there.
Okay. There is, and you have to assume the Hispanic guy that he interacts with on the subway is also there, but I don't remember seeing him. So
yeah, he's at school somewhere.
Yeah, right. So yes, so one of the white kids stops Mike, definitively white, stops Mike on the way out and stammers through telling him he's proud of him. And like I gotta hand it to him because I didn't know how to interpret that. I didn't get it. I didn't get the intent of that, which is how that should play. You know, it should not, if that was grossly apparent what its intent was there. And you're kind of looking like maybe you still don't know, but I did not get it at first, and to that I applauded. But Mike hops on a train to NYC where the frat boys continue to party there behind him. And at one point there's this thing where they're stuffing popcorn down his shirt, and they're like a really, really fucking weird moment. Like, real weird directorial decision, especially when you find out more about this. It's extra weird to me that like a good accomplished director chose to keep this or use it or whatever. It's fucking weird to me, but they slowly thin out as the train makes its way down from wherever the fuck it's coming and rolls into Grand Central Station. And towards the very end, it's just, and again, I also didn't know how to interpret this is good directing and good storytelling and good filmmaking. You get this one that's still on the train suspiciously eyeing him, and I expected this to be turn into something contentious, you know?
Right.
So yeah, good job of
beef happening.
Yeah, exactly. So good job of like, you know, keeping you on your toes storytelling wise. And then we move to the subway where we pan across the many walks of life that sit side by side on the NYC subway system. And we land on Mike and this dude sitting next to each other. And he's Hispanic. And their dialogue is clearly trying to highlight how out of place the two of them feel with all the rich kids at school. And so that's like, they do this by comparing how many of the white kids told them they were proud of them on the way home, you know, which was, again, then kind of illuminates what that moment at the stairwell as they're leaving is about, you know. So pretty good reveal of that, I think. And then, so now Mike walks through the street in the hood, probably Harlem, I would guess, before he gets to his stoop where Wesley fucking Snipes is waiting for him with a couple other dudes. And this is pre-New Jack Wesley, pre-Major League Wesley even. Dive a little deeper on this. And Wesley's very first credit is a spot in one 1984 episode of, drumroll, All My Children. And yes, and it's on the tube because everything is, and it's pretty fucking entertaining. He plays a jealous, maybe abusive boyfriend of some girl and ends up getting knocked out in a bar fight. So it's just a 1-episode deal. And the link to that is in the show notes if you want to burn up that 4 minutes of your life. And it never ceases to amaze me how many actors started on soaps. And it's just wild to think that I got to dick around in that same studio on 66th with like that all those fucking people got to dick around in, you know, for just an episode or two. It's, I mean, I was there for a while, but fucking, you know, so many people passed through that just for 1 or 2 fucking days, you know, it's just crazy. Fucking wild business. So I found an interview on Conan with him where he claims he beat out Prince for this fucking role. Jay, did you come across this? Yes.
No.
Yes. Prince was up for this role and maybe even had it. I'm guessing, you know, it's Wesley telling the story, so there's that level of whatever. But I'm guessing it's probably more Prince was unavailable, you know, because Prince had to do Prince shit. But however the case, Prince was up for the role at some point or another, and it ends up going to Wesley. Wesley also tells in that same interview that Mike really thought he was in a gang, that Mike really thought Wesley was in a gang, you know? So I don't know,
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's so good. And like, I guess slow reveal of this story. Mike heads inside, as far as getting back to the video, he heads inside the building after a quick little interaction with the stoop guys. And he finds a note from his mom telling him that there's a Sammy in the fridge and she'll be home from work later. So he then stands at the window and he eyes what looks like a crack house or burnout fucking hood building across the street. And then a title overlay informs you that Martin fucking Scorsese directed this.
I had no idea.
I had no fucking idea.
I was like, what?
Yes. Fucking wild. So that's what I said about the popcorn thing. Like the fact that Martin Scorsese left that in is wild to me. You know, I don't know. But there's also a lot of good directing stuff in here too, I think. So whatever. Can't win them all. And he heads over there to hang out with Wesley and the boys. I guess it's their spot or something. And he, which gets him into a progressively hairier situation with them that culminates into Wesley acting fucking circles around Mike in a confrontation scene or sequence where the two of them are arguing about whether Mike's bad or not. You know, yeah, fucking Wesley is just fucking crushing it. It's fucking really good performance out of Wesley there, I thought. And especially to be acting with Mike, it's got to be weird, you know. So then they start dancing in the subway station because 80s and Michael Jackson. And I would just, this is where I really start to thought to myself, like, I would just love to have about a dozen tequilas with Snipes and then ask him what he really thought about this and Mike happening in front of him in a subway station. It had to just be an unreal experience, you know. It just had to be so fucking crazy. This whole thing with the, I mean, he's in this, they like, you know, hop the turnstiles and then they're on. This actually happened, Jay, and I don't know if you clocked this night. It was in the Hoyt Schermerhorn station in Brooklyn, which I absolutely had been to, or have been to rather. And it was shot over 6 weeks in Brooklyn in late '86. And Wesley even says in the interview on Conan that, or some interview, and that I was watching, and that it was supposed to be a week. He was booked for a week originally, and it ended up being 6 weeks. So, you know,
how did that even happen?
Filmmaking, you know, fucking Mike's probably like, no, we're gonna do this, and like, you know, Snipes talks about, like, he's like, that dude, like, he rehearsed the way he performed. Like, that's why it took 6 weeks, because we are rehearsing, and you know, it's an 18-minute video, so some of it's narrative, but a lot of it's the fucking song and crazy choreography. And he's like, yeah, it was fucking, I mean, that shit like took fucking forever. We fucking rehearsed that into the ground, and that dude was 100% the entire fucking time. And he's like, and if anyone fucking else wasn't 100%, they either got sent home or we're doing it again, or both. You know, so like, yeah, he's like, it was a deal, you know. And like, yeah, that's the, you know, like, Snipes isn't exactly, he's not dancing with them really. There's like, there's a little bit of a moment, but they're not really dancing. He's like, but I had to be there for a lot of that shit. He's like, I just couldn't believe it. He's like, it taught me a lot about rehearsal. It taught me about like really immersing yourself in things. He's like, it changed the way I approached the rest of my career, hands down, working with him. Wow. Watching how serious he was about performing, you know, and even though it was a different medium, it was fucking wild. So yeah, fucking great, phenomenal video to fucking check out if you haven't seen it. Oh my god, fucking look it up. Really interesting, if only to watch Wesley that early, you know, that young.
Great.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, the video game. We're playing a video game, not watching Michael Jackson videos. And like, it's 42 minutes, or was it? Yeah, 43 minutes maybe. I made the playlist as I was going, so I posted the playlist on the Facebook page, and yeah, cumulatively it's like 42 minutes of footage for 5 songs. That's how intense Michael Jackson music video production is, you know, like it was a thing, man.
It was a production.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had to have enjoyed, I mean, clearly, you know, he made that movie, like he was clearly geared towards, you know, any form of performance. It was not just music that he loved. He loved fucking performing and telling a story of any kind, however he could do it. So that's very apparent in his work. So the enemy hideout is, you know, the name. So the enemy has been, and this is where you kind of learn this, I guess, it's not, they seemed to me prior to this as just the random things he was fighting at times, but the SWAT guys are the fucking everywhere. They're the things on the cover. I made the realization here, like they are the group, you know, that you're up against. So those are fucking everywhere here. And we have 9 Katie's to find, mostly hidden behind these small garage door style doors that you open up, doing your little spin reveal in front of. They have hardwired keypads next to them that you have to do the spin move on, and then the door opens. So that's just an interesting little piece of variance that is here. And there are also a few in the storage containers where tie bombs are also found. So you kind of get that car trunk mechanic here too. And then most importantly, and I knew they'd be fucking somewhere in this game, there are fucking mainframes! As you can see behind me. And they are Apex tier mainframes too. They have 2 screens on them, one with a parabola because math equations and other shit have to be on mainframes, you know. And there's also a map on I think anyways, that's a screen with a map to on the right screen. And there are just so many lights and buttons. And God, I just fucking love it, dude. I love
Mainframes do equations. That's
Oh,
what
they
do.
are. Yeah, you have to.
They control stuff.
Major computations are happening on these things, these units. So yeah, and so many of them are assigned one of these SWAT guys, right? And the animation for these dudes is, as they're hacking into these things, are fucking hysterical. Yeah, they're like, it's just, they're not. So their back is to the player POV, right? So they're just immersed in dealing with this machine, and they're just flailing their arms around in every direction all over the machine, trying to get a handle on operating this thing, right? Like achieving whatever computing goal.
Hey, this is highly technical work, Josh. This requires very much focus. You don't even know, man.
Yeah, have
you ever maintained a mainframe? Come on.
Right, yeah, like you watch it and you want him to have to lift one of his legs to hit one of the switches or something, because he just doesn't have enough hands to keep up, right? So yeah, it just requires just too many toggles and dials and buttons and shit for them ever to be able to achieve what they're trying to achieve without some help, So it's just, I was just laughing my fucking ass off while I played this level. And my boss battle video is all 3 of these levels, so it's you can see me dying fucking when I find these. I was so pleased. It was great. See, I had to make a GIF out of it. It's like I can die a happy man now. It's the perfect GIF. It's the perfect GIF. And I didn't even intend to have that spark passing through, because that's like these mainframes, the way they work. A lot of them, not all of them, but some of them run things, environmental dangers, and one of those dangers is these cords that wrap along the walls, and the cords get like that spark in them. It reminded me so much of the train boss in Shinobi. If you remember the spark on those, it was like the same exact concept to me. It's all I could think of when I saw them. But they're causing those to happen, and the GIF shot I got, or the video part I chose to use for this, that actually got like Mike not in the way and other enemies not fucking with them, and them actually operating the machine long enough to get that hilarious animation going, just happens to have one of the sparks pass through the frame in its entirety as it's going. And it's just the perfect like oscillation for a GIF. It's such a perfect GIF. It's so good. So fucking good. Oh, great. Love having that in my fucking collection now. I can't wait to fucking just use that as a communication medium. No one's going to know what it means. It's just me enjoying
New
something.
merch coming. Mainframe. Maintain the mainframe. Trademark right here.
Yep. It's I'll put the link to it in the show notes if you want to download it. I have it on the ISOH fucking Google Drive, so you can fucking download it if you want it for your fucking GIF collection. It's great. So there are also massive magnetic tape reel-to-reel machines, but those pale in comparison to the coolness of the fucking mainframes. Both machines can be destroyed, though, via mic kick, and doing so sometimes has the purpose of stopping the electrical charge that can be the hazard. So of benefit to blow them all up, and I kind of thought maybe I'd find fucking Katie's in them at some point too. So I was just do everything you do in every level until you have all the Katie's.
Exactly.
Yeah. So easily the shittiest part of the level and the next are the ceiling mounted laser turrets that are also here, and they can only fire at 45-degree angles and straight down, thank baby Jesus, but they still are fucking awful to deal with. And you can get up there and you can knock them off the ceiling, so they can be destroyed in most cases anyways. You can get to them, and they really get to be a pain on the conveyor belt areas where you lose some of your forward moving mobility and you're kind of stuck at times.
There's multiple coming at you.
Exactly. Yeah. Fucking huge pain in the ass. And it's like conveyor belts too in general are just one of the worst action platforming conventions of all time. So, it's just one click below ice levels, I would call them.
But I mean, it made for, an increase in difficulty, step up. We're on the 5th world. Yeah. So
yep. Fair,
sense.
But annoying.
Yes, definitely.
So it took me a while, but I'd eventually figure out those raised areas on the floor were teleportation devices. Was that immediately apparent to you?
Yeah, because I just I was walking around looking for Katie's. I'm like, what do I do? And I can't remember what kind of made me try it. I just kind of jumped on it because, first of all, because you can jump on everything in this game. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a pool table or a piano or something that makes sounds. I was kind of just like, oh, let me jump on this. And so it was like, oh. So after that, I kind of stopped smashing mainframes because I was afraid it would stop me from being able to teleport,
That's great. That's fucking great.
I thought it would break the connection. You never know.
That's funny. That would be great. if you could really fuck yourself, that would be such a knife turn. Fuck you, video retro gaming
Start
design
over.
choice. Yeah, that's hilarious. That didn't occur to me. So yeah, I found them because there's that part of the stage in the top right where it's just a little platform up there with a Katie on it. You can see.
That's the only way you can get to it.
Right, exactly. So I looked at that. I was like, in my video, you can hear me say, I'm like, how the fuck do you get there?
I tried a good 5 jumps. I was like,
yeah,
I can jump and I can't reach that. Therefore,
yeah, right. So yeah, that's what sent me just checking things. I found it that, and they have a pretty cool animation for those too. That there's like a blue set of rings that surround you as you disappear and move. So
I mean, that's
done.
what teleportation looks like, right?
Yeah, especially
we all know what it looks like.
Yeah, in 1990, that's exactly how it looked for sure.
Yep, that's like Star Trek, same thing.
Yeah,
blue light coming up.
Yep. That's exactly what I thought of as well. So the boss battle is just a normal SWAT fuck swarm at one of the mainframes, and I just role play that in my mind, like he's at the mainframe, get him, is what I envision all these SWAT guys saying, when fucking at the beginning of this battle. I smoked their asses on the first go round though; they were pretty easy.
Yeah, I didn't ever really pay attention to my finish times until pretty much now, but I did notice at this point I was like, wow, I finished this with like a minute left on like the.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I know. Yeah, I stopped paying attention. I know. I thought about them right first because I'm like hyper analyzing for the game flow notes and stuff. But yeah, I had stopped thinking about it. And here I noticed I was like, oh wow, I'm surprisingly beating them under the.
Yeah.
So they must have. They're too high. I think then is the answer to that. If we're like, especially because again, I'm going around and like over fucking checking shit, for notes and stuff. So the fact that I'm doing that and still beating the level under the amount means too high. Rebalance need. Go back, Sega, immediately fix it. So the enemy, or round 5-2 rather, the enemy hideout is the same vibe, 10 KDs though, and it's just more chaotic, I would say. Same thing, just more chaotic, and there's more dudes, more guns, and more fucking mainframes. They do add automated trapdoors that will drop you down to the level below, which is a real pain in the ass if you have happened to you and you're just kind of jumping around trying to navigate this mess and you fall through one of those. It's definitely a fuck you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to lose some life getting back up there. I hope I find another KD to replenish it. But yeah,
well, but I still finished it 2 minutes early. So even with all that said,
word. So yeah, Bubbles takes you to a conveyor belt area for the boss battle, where 3 SWAT dudes in green man bodysuits jump out and attack both sides of you. And it's not easy, but I was able to pin them to the right side of the screen and cheese them into oblivion with about half my life bar left in the first go round. Yeah, they like jump back out, and you can kind of just fucking hit them as they're coming down before they can do any attacking.
Yeah. That was pretty intuitive,
Yeah,
I feel like.
So moving into what would probably be the last stage, round 5-3, the enemy hideout, you start with the same vibe, but you find you're just below street level and need to take an elevator up to the buildings above. So you're like, you emerge out of the enemy hideout now into what is, you will find out later, like you're like in this like canyon, this fully enveloped canyon where their hideout is with these fucking skyscrapers, which is a weird thing to do for a hideout. Then the canyon's purple too. The rock is purple, which is kind of cool and makes for a cool visual. There are 10 KDs just sitting around up here out in the open they have to find. But other than some mildly annoying platforming required, it's just your regular SWAT dudes everywhere, standing between you and your beloved KDs. So Bubbles takes you to ground level where you are swarmed by those green man suit dudes. And just as you think to yourself, oh, fuck, how am I going to deal with this? Everything freezes. And then, one of those robot meteors comes barreling down at you and you can't avoid it. It's hitting you no matter what because you freeze. So the robot shit happens. And I guess, that was your first time. I mean, you kind of touched on it, but
I was just so shocked.
I saw that thing coming and like I knew what it was. So that's like a different, thing, I guess, different experience than being the first time.
To me, it's the same thing that the Katie's ride on, right? So like I see that and I just think whenever I see that, I think, okay, I'm getting more magic. Great. You know what I mean? So that's just what I think. And then all of a sudden it's like, what is happening? I'm a giant robot. So to me, it was perfect timing because I was able to just destroy everything. And I think it may have even happened towards the end of my Katie time because I never even had the experience of, I'm not able to grab any Katies now. I just was able to smash.
No, yeah, I think you got to get all the Katies first.
Okay.
Because then, Bubbles takes you to that. So yeah, you
Okay,
got to.
I didn't know. Again, I didn't know how it happened to me. It just happened. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was a triggering event or if I just picked
So
up
did
something.
you succeed in killing all the guys the first time then?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Really? See, I did not.
Wait a minute. No, I definitely died on this level. I definitely had to try this level more than once.
Okay. Yeah, because this is how I learned that it wasn't time that you could take damage and clearly die as a result. So yeah, like I had to learn like the second or third pass that I need to stay out in the open. Like you need to like get out over one of those canyon rock gap things between the buildings because you can't fly through the buildings or you can't fly through the platforms and the railings and stuff. So if you get trapped in those little areas as the robot, he's so immobile, that those things just keep jumping at you constantly, so you get fragged pretty easily. So yeah, if you stay out in the open though and they can't hit you with their jumps, they become sitting ducks as they fall past you, and you can just fly back and forth and avoid them and shoot them with I-beams going down, So yeah, and there are a lot of these fucking dudes. It is just survive, basically. You just keep fucking avoiding them and just kill them as you see them, and eventually they stop coming and explosions happen all over at the end of all over the screen, and then I don't know, end of game, I think. Like that happened, and I was like, oh fuck, that's it, okay, game over, like cool, and it cuts from that to text on a black card, and it says, congratulations, you've defeated all of Mr. Big's henchmen. You've escaped from the traps Mr. Big set for you. You rescued all of the children Mr. Big kidnapped. And I was like, holy shit, that's the end of the game. You got to be kidding me. And then it cuts from that to another card that says, now it's time for the final challenge, you versus Mr. Big. And I was like, oh, fucking yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah. I was riding the emotional fucking roller coaster there at the end of this.
Don't let me down, Mike.
Yeah, like happy I beat it. Like, oh shit, that's it. Oh fuck, oh great, cool. Okay, there's something cool to happen too. So it goes from that, and it fades to a cutscene. The mountain hideout exploding, and out of that rather, a spaceship flies that you can infer as being Mr. Big's, followed by Mike in, or should I say as the ship? Yeah. his flying ship, or flying car rather, and then a text overlay says, Michael's battle plane, round 6, Michael's battle plane. And I fucking love Sega, man. They're so fucking out there. Like Michael's battle plane. Like what the fuck? What the hell kind of final level name is that? Just crazy.
Because Michael needs a way to like if the dude flies away, what's Michael going to do? He needs a way. Like,
yeah.
How are we going to get there?
Yep. So his battle plane, of course. He probably had one in real life too. We just don't know about it. And yeah, so you are then playing a cockpit POV flight simulator in space. And I don't know if you caught that video I posted, or did I even post it yet? Maybe not. I lost my fucking mind when this came on screen, dude. I lost my fucking mind. The exact words in my boss battle vid are, what the fuck is this game? What in the fuck is this game? Are you fucking serious? What in the fuck is this shit? I just lost my fucking mind. I could not fucking believe that I was playing a first-person cockpit simulator, fucking flight simulator game. I just could not believe that happened. Dude, next.
Same thing. I'm like, what happened? Like, it took me several tries to get used to what was happening.
Oh yeah,
like,
well, dude, yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there's no like get your feet wet thing. It's just you are immediately inundated with enemy ships flying at you, so you don't have time to acclimate yourself to the UI, which is super fucking important.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just immediately trying to survive, and you don't even know what your target is. So yeah, it took me forever to figure out the doodads on the HUD because yes, I am like trying to fucking deal with this shit, And there's like, I mean, dude, probably
fly and shoot and like. Nothing's happening. You're not.
Right. I don't know what my goal is. Yeah, I died probably a dozen times before I realized that was a radar on the right of the HUD there. And only moments before that did I gather that I was hunting for Mr. Big's green ship in the mess of grunt ships that are flying around, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm playing this and I'm just like, yeah, there's just a whole sequence. I mean, it's probably only 10 minutes or something, but there's probably a sequence of me just like, what in the fuck am I supposed to be doing here, man? Like nothing's fucking, what the fuck? Just like total frustration, not understanding, like what the fuck is going on here, man? Oh God. So yeah, there's like so as far as the HUD goes, there's a really rudimentary motion cap stuff, like Mortal Kombat type motion cap of this dude's head, Mr. Big's head, on a little red screen on the left. And it's the screen, like when you first start the level, you don't notice it when you first start the game, because you're fucking flying. You're flying and fucking getting hammered immediately. So you don't know it says it, but it says TV comlink before his head appears. So it's telling you this is like coming from somewhere else, right? So it says that, and then Mr. Big starts talking shit to you the whole time through this little screen. So like, yeah, it's funny that you can't like turn it off or anything. That's like, you just have to deal with Mr. Big shit talking in your own personal battle plane. You know, is hilarious. But whatever. The messages stuff, it says incoming message, don't move, I have a surprise for you, is the first thing he says. And then he also, after that, will go, I got you. And Michael, your time is up. When you get hit by enemy fire, he's saying those two things. And then when you die, which happens a bunch of times, like we said, he says, goodbye, Michael. And it's all like really basic bitch arch nemesis dialogue. But so he's there, and like, yeah, his face is kind of animating when he says it, you know, so it's like a, for the time, mildly technologically impressive thing going on for boss battle shit talking. And it took me forever to realize it, but above and below that is his life meter. So it's there's 8 units of life represented by little blue lights above and below his face that slowly go out as you hit him in the little fucking, and you have like your, like the, what would you call it? Like a crosshair thing. It's like one of those little glass overlays that have kind of a target in them, so you can tell where your bullets are going to go. So that's cool. That's there and very helpful, of course. But yeah, all this shit took me a very long fucking time to
I had the exact experience. The progression of like, oh wait, this is the HUD. Okay, that's how I get to him. Okay, and then finally it was like, oh, those blue dots must be. Once it all clicked, I was like, okay, I can just focus on this guy, and then it was like,
and just avoid that shit. Yeah.
But until that, it was a lot of fire and death.
Yeah, a lot of frustration. Yeah. Once I learned, it was like, the progression for me was I saw the radar, and I had already encountered him, and like I said, just before finding the radar is when I like realized that he was out there, and I think I like hit him once, and then I don't even know what catalyzes it, but at some point he'll come up close to your ship, and you can see him in his ship, and you can shoot him then too. And then he'll go back and you can maybe shoot him again. But he came up and he did that and he killed me the one time. So I had that happen to me, and I come back. And then after that had happened, I knew he was out there, is when I noticed the radar and the different color spec, and like that I'm searching for that, and that like my movement in the world changed what was happening in a controlled way in the radar. Like I put that all together. And yeah, I mean, like once I did that, I knew I was tracking, like it changed the experience for sure. But it was like, it was like Castlevania Dracula level frustration, and like, what the fuck is this shit for a little bit, for do some save scum loading and shit before I got there. And it was definitely no easy boss battle, I would say. Yeah, the video is actually only 8 minutes, so it's, it feels like so much longer when it's happened to you. And Dracula, actually, I mean, that did take me like 30-40 minutes or something to beat that motherfucker. So that was harder for sure. But there is a learning curve to this, and I applaud them too, because if they give you any of that information in the manual, anything, and any video game player can figure this out. It's not hard. It just takes experimentation and some experience, and some, you should have, like that. I always say that. I always the boss battle should have progress to it. You should feel incremental.
And I think that was good. I think that was a good use of it. I think you're right. If you kind of laid that out in the manual, it wouldn't have landed the same. It'd be, you know what I mean? The fact that you were thrown into it, like, what is happening, and then had to figure it out on your own. I think that was the right experience.
Yep. Agreed. So, however long it took you, what would you say your time was?
I don't know. It seemed just the boss battle itself.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I probably tried it a good 8 to 10 times. Before I finally like locked in, and I was like, okay, now I got it. Then like once I locked in, maybe it took me like 2 tries to like 2 or 3 to like, okay, you're done now.
I would say me too. I'd have to go back and watch the video to know for sure. But yeah, I would say about the same. So yeah, probably a little under 10 minutes. Pretty similar to mine, I would say. Yeah. But when you do get his ass, his little shithead digitized face grimaces on your TV comm link there, and the incoming message is a simple no as the ship blows up. And I was completely surprised by finishing, dude. Like genuine shock. Like when he died, yeah, I don't think I was watching the fucking bullet for the
meter.
The meter, yeah. So yeah, I was genuine shock when it happens. So that was pretty. Makes for good gameplay footage. And the congratulations comes up in a big bold gold lettering as we hang there for a beat before what's behind you right now, basically, before cutting to a view of the back of your ship shooting off. Then we cut to the end credits. They start with Mike and I believe People Under the Stairs Kid moonwalking away from each other and dancing on opposite sides of the screen while the text crawls upward between them, which was, I think, a really cool touch. And it's scored by Bad also. Which, so a little bit of a bummer we didn't get another Mike song, but 5's pretty good. And there are a lot of pseudonames in what is a relatively large development team for the time, I'd say. And Al Nielsen makes an appearance with a special thanks just before Mike's closing game concept and design by credit. And that's, like I said, concept and design credit. So that's a lot.
Well, I mean, think about it though. If he approached them, A, you're taking that call and you're absolutely taking that project, and B, yes, you can absolutely be involved in this. Like, trust us, but we will hear your vision. Like, whoever was behind this, these people, Al Nielsen, they made it work. They figured it out.
Well, I think Al Nielsen just brokered their relationship. I wouldn't expect that Nielsen maybe had. I mean, whatever. He was a bigwig, so he probably had. They probably ran shit by him. but yeah, I mean, do you really think? There's clearly no way to know, but do you really think that? You said use the word vision. Vision is a big word, bro. Vision is a really big word that has a lot to do with the like. I just feel like it's impossible because I don't feel like video games are enough of a thing yet, especially for someone that outside of reality, Michael. I mean, living outside of reality, that like. The idea of like a layman conceiving video game concepts.
Dude, it's been like a decade. Like if you think about the Atari games and all that. Like
sure. But they're not an everyday part of life yet, though, dude. They're just not.
Maybe they are though. Like we're talking 1990. Like the Nintendo,
they're not,
the NES.
We've had long conversations.
No. Hold on. We're talking about a superstar who money is not an issue. You think he doesn't have a Nintendo and a Sega at home?
You think he has time to actually play it? And dude, yes, I don't know. And he is
okay, but we're talking about Michael Jackson, the man who like misses his childhood. You know what I mean? Because he was working Jackson 5, all that. So like as an adult, he's making money and stuff. But I would expect him to be. He's got a freaking ranch. He's spending some time playing some games.
He's got he's got some games with the ranch.
Like I imagine
probably better at Nintendo than we are.
I honestly imagine him like with his own arcade cabinet at Neverland Ranch or wherever and playing it, just being like, I need my own game. This would be dope. And calling up Sega and they're like, let's make this happen. You know what I mean? That's probably why the Sega arcade version is like multiplayer beat 'em up like you want it to be, because he's like, yeah, here I am. Here's what, you know what I mean? And they just like developed it into a little more of a story type of thing for the home console.
Yeah. A lot more. Like I said, a lot more in the story. I think there's a lot more. A lot of a story here. You may be right. That's debating conjecture there. So he whips out the credits finish, and he whips out his hat out on top of the end, coming into place, center mass above your final score. Gives us one more ooh with his closing dance move, and my meaningless save sum score was 434,580 points. Did you jot yours down by chance, Jay?
Yeah, mine was 403.
Yeah, okay,
that's funny.
So, yeah, it's pretty close. The Aloric disciples will never forgive us for saves coming our way through it, probably, and trying to tout that score or those scores. So yay! That is Moonwalker on the Sega Genesis.
That is the Mr. Big theme, bringing us into the verdict, the most least suspenseful one, I think, in recent memory.
Maybe probably ever.
Yeah.
Yee! Of course, fuck gets a blessing. I mean, what the fuck? This game is absolutely fucking bananas in the best possible way. It's fucking mainframes, chimpanzees, Michael Jackson chiptune tracks, you name it, it's in here. There's nothing to fucking ask for. Game design wise, there's nothing more to ask for in the 16-bit era. There's nothing.
I mean, the only thing you could ask for is an arcade experience where we're multiplayer co-oping. Like, I want that now. Like, I gotta find that.
If you want to make a, like a fan mod or something, this would be a great game. Maybe it's out there. Maybe I didn't Google that, I guess. But yeah, a fucking couch co-op. And obviously it's like, I don't want just, it would be easy hack, I'm sure, to just add 2 players that can simultaneously play in these same levels. Like I want to play a game in the same universe that's accounting for the cooperative effort now.
Yes.
And I even want it to be, I want one of us to be able to control Bubbles.
Now you're getting crazy. I don't know. But I'm sure we can make it happen. Somebody can make it happen.
Yeah, that's the next step. That's the next step in human evolution is Michael Jackson's the Moonwalker, where I can control Bubbles cooperatively with Michael. That's the next step. Yeah, I mean, there's just not much to discuss, man. Like, if you could say that the controls are not the best. Those stairs suck ass for me. Apparently, that's a unique problem that everyone has. That's surprising as fuck for me to hear. But
it even had unique controls we didn't even talk about. Like, there was one part early on where I had to do a swing technique just to jump up. Like, I don't know. Clearly, I watched videos of people have to make jumps, and I just missed that way. So early on, probably like level
swing? What do you mean swing?
So there were platforms where I could not jump up high enough. So I would jump up to the platform, swing, and do like a launching. You would like launch yourself. I meant to bring it up earlier, and I completely forgot. But I had to use it twice, and clearly you didn't have to watching other playthroughs.
Yeah.
But I felt like I couldn't make certain jumps, so I would use this like as long as you had a platform.
Yeah,
you could swing under it and like launch yourself.
The woods had fucked up platforming parts for sure, that where you would have to jump up higher and jump down. Too. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't know I could do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what's the mechanic? Say it again.
You like jump up, and like it's like he's hanging and does like a little swing, and if you press over in the right button, he like launches it, almost like slingshots yourself up, and like so you can jump way higher. Yeah.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Hidden mechanics, man. Try it again.
Yeah. Well, it's like the robot. I'm sure there's got to be more instances of those robot things that we didn't fucking find or use.
This playthrough had like he morphed like 5 times. I'm like, how did you?
I didn't even start mine.
I don't know.
Yeah, fuck. Okay, yeah, the control is a little weird at times, but other than that, I mean, the graphics are good. Music is fucking incredible, of course. A lot of great voice samples. There's probably, we talked about it a little, but there's like, you get into some little bit of in-originality at times with the SWAT dudes. I would have liked the bosses, but I mean, there's plenty of unique baddies too. The nightclub wise guys, street punk zombies, dancing Dobermans. There's a lot of unique, interesting shit in here too. So I don't think you can criticize it for that either. I mean, pretty simple. You play it, you'll have fun. If you can even remember what getting that feeling from a video game feels like, fun, that will be had here. I promise you, if you play it. So yeah, it's fucking gets the blessing with a resounding yay. I'm assuming. Did you actually say it? You got to say it, Jay.
Yes.
There's formalities.
Absolutely give it the blessing.
Okay.
Confirmed without question.
Bestowed. I'll put it in my spreadsheet. I re-upped. We went without. We didn't finish the back half of the side quest with the pick chart shit, the little charts and stuff, because they changed it to a subscription model, and I wanted so badly to do that full runtime Pick the Chart that I paid $168 for an annual subscription to Pick the Chart. So, well, you'll see a lot more infographics out of me now, I think, moving forward, that I have a subscription for $170 to make podcast infographics. So, yeah, you'll probably see one soon about our blessing ratios.
Hotness incoming.
Yeah.
Visuals incoming.
Yeah. So next up, we're going to do Sega Mania Issue 1, our wacky modern retro magazine deal. And then you can also subscribe to the pod on the platform provided whatever dumbass company that stirs up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on whatever podcast platform of choice you do indulge, or any other for that matter. The website is NYEH Entertainment ehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the pod on Facebook and or Instagram. Link to the YouTube gameplay videos playlist is in the show notes. There's the ISOH subreddit that I occasionally engage in now. Not so much. It's fucking too much work. But that does exist. And we don't have a Patreon, but if you'd like giving money to things podcasters tell you to and would like to do so at our direction, the Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gamer rigs for gamers with disabilities, and that's cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts are on the website, including the new Chaos fucking Ninja Bros one, and the proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. Although our pod expenses went up by $170 now, so gotta sell some T-shirts to cover that. And Jay, what are your socials?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That's pretty much where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and definitely my gamer tag. So look me up. Let me know where you're finding me so we can game it up.
Word. I am on Instagram at MyShiftKeyIsBroke. My Twitter is at Josh Folan, and you can find me on my Oculus all the fucking time at MyShiftKeyIsBroke also. Okay, bye.
Bye.